Okay. Now they can hear me. Let me figure out how to get you pulled in. Hey guys, what's going on? Give me just a momento, por favor. Um, I have done this 3 times now, and all 3 times it's been totally fine. And now, all of a sudden, it's not totally fine because of freaking reasons. So give me just a second. And we're going to see, did that work? That did work. Great. Desktop audio 2. Let's just go to default. Let's go back to disabled. There we go. That did not work. Audio video output. No. Why? See, this is that bullcrap. Literally last night, Jez and I were talking about this, and he goes, dude, you're gonna get on here, and all of your settings are gonna be completely different. And sure as hell enough, all of my settings are completely different. For some reason, it's not working in bringing over the Discord chat, even though Discord voice is right there and it's alive and well. Let me try this. Control audio. Hey, Will, try to say something. Do it again. Damn it. Okay. Nope. Well, crap. Okay. Don't I don't need that. I love that they can hear me, but I can't hear them. This makes absolutely no freaking sense. So sorry, guys. Bear with me. Alright. Will, are you here now? You're still not here. Damn it. You're in my ear, but you're not in theirs. Okay. Growing pains. Thrifty, we will get it together. Yeah, I hope so. There's also an echo for some odd reason. Okay. Alright, let's see. I remember how to do this. I know what I'm doing. Hang on. I do know what I'm doing. Okay. That's stream labels. Don't give a crap about that. Don't care about that. That's correct. I'm not multi-streaming. General stream output. Okay. All of that shit's correct. Audio. Okay. Okay. Default audio device. Yes. Absolutely. Default audio device 1. Yes. That's right. Default audio device. Oh. Well, hang on. I think okay. That got rid of that. And I don't have any other mics. Try dragging and dropping? Who said drag drop what? I know. Um, and let's open this real quick.
Channels. So see if you can drag my name from the lobby to the wherever you're talking from.
I can't. Oh, wait. Oh, crap. Here we go. Try to say something now.
Saying something now.
There it is. Okay. Huh.
What you do?
I really don't freaking know. But it worked. So, we're going to go ahead. Oh, crap. Okay, guys. Well, I had a really cool intro and everything. Oh, shit. We are not professionals. I can't say that enough. Okay. So, tonight you'll notice. Oh, why am I coming through my headset? Why? Okay. Here we go. So tonight you're going to notice that everything looks a little different. We have a full setup on here. We have everything uh, lined out. I got all the chats and um, all the chats. I have Will and I up in the corner. Basically, I've turned it from trying to just stream from the PlayStation to actually giving you a little clicky clicky fixy fixy. That's right. that's, that's how that works. I have invested in the channel, got a new PC, and uh, really enjoying it so far. Jez last night helped me set up Streamlabs. Nate has been helping me through this entire process. A buddy of mine came over today and walked me through some of the other intricacies of a freaking PC. Good lord. Uh, this PC makes me so happy that I don't use it for gaming because I don't want to fool with it. It's a complicated nightmare of a mess, and so I don't even want to mess with it. But I do want to have a more professional quality stream, or maybe not professional, but a more high quality stream, at least in production. And so, yeah, this is some of the stuff that y'all can look forward to. And I thank y'all all for being here. Tonight's topics are Star Wars Outlaws. Outlaws. It got a story reveal trailer, and uh, once again, people are clamoring over this game, and once again, there's people on both sides. One talking about how awesome the game looks and how excited they are to play a Star Wars game, and the other talking about social justice bullshit. And so we probably are going to do both tonight because, well, you can't make a game now without having both. And so, speaking of that, Stellar Blade is only 2 weeks away, but we're not talking about that tonight. Internet only games. This is linked in with the Star Wars issue because in order to download the game, you're going to have an internet connection, which makes the Star Wars Outlaw game more kind of like a PC style game from back in the day where you used to open it up and you put the disc in and then you still had to enter in a key code. And so some of y'all don't remember that. They used to give you a disc and give you a key code. And before that, they just gave you a disc. So you had no key code, but then they went to the online thing where you had to verify and validate your purchase and all of that stuff. Also, we're going to be talking about the PlayStation Plus titles for the month of April. And yeah, interesting to talk about them since I don't have the service anymore, but I know a lot of y'all do, and I know that as much as I think it's not worth my investment, especially at this time, I do believe that some of the things that PlayStation is doing uh, with their subservice is just spot on perfection. The other thing that really caught my interest, that's more of like a pet project for me to talk about, is Sands of Time is a long rumored remake that was supposed to happen like 3 or 4 years ago and everybody thought it was dead. Well, there's a little bit new information saying that hey, it's actually not dead. Like we're still working on it. It's a full-on ground-up remake. Oh, so we're gonna kind of talk about that. Talk about old series maybe that we'd like to see get kind of that treatment on them. Uh, Obviously not games that came out at the end of the PS4's life cycle, but maybe going backwards, maybe like a Jet Moto remaster or something like that. It's been a long time since we had a good like Jet Moto style game. But anyways, and then Wolverine, we will be talking about the new details of Wolverine and what we found out apparently from the leak that back when it came out, I was stuck in my almighty righteous as thee and didn't want to cover it. And so there were some things that I missed apparently. This is a new article detailing some stuff that was released in that about the new Wolverine game. Really got me excited. I hope it does for y'all too. You will notice that tonight is a lot of gaming. Tonight is not a lot of console warring. It's not a, so basically what I'm saying is tonight is a great night to share the stream out. So because there's not a lot of console war bullshit. Um, but with all that being said, welcome to the playground. Will, how in the actual world are you, my friend?
I'm good, Thrifty man. How are you doing?
I am good. You are uh, kind of the Russian roulette of when I ask this question. I never know what I'm gonna get. But what games have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Nier Automata, House Builder 2, which came out today, and a little bit of Avatar, a little bit of Helldivers.
Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora. Gotcha.
Frontiers of Pandora, yeah.
Gotcha. I was sitting here going, I didn't realize they made an Avatar Last Airbender game outside of that little Nickelodeon one.
Yeah, no, no, man. This is James Cameron's vision.
Oh, so how's his vision in first person? Does it look pretty?
Oh yeah, it looks, I mean, the game's a looker for sure. It's every open game you are, just trying to figure things out, right? And, the terrain and the enemies and, all that stuff. But the thing that really throws me off on this Avatar game is that you're doing all that, but on top of that, you're an alien in an alien world, and a flower that looks pretty can actually kill you. And so it's like double the confusion when you jump into a new game trying to figure out the mechanics just because it's Avatar and you're in a alien planet and just trying to figure out how to navigate and figure out just all the little intricacies it becomes a little bit more difficult. But the game is good. It looks it's a gorgeous game. I only have about 7 hours into it, but it's a huge, huge open world. And with a game like this, it makes a ton of sense because you are in an alien planet. But yeah, no, it's definitely a good game. I recommend it for anybody who likes Avatar and for anybody who likes open world games.
That's cool, man. I see you got the first go. Yeah, I did. I appreciate that, Nate. But yeah, so Avatar, like I've said it before, if the game would have been third person, I probably would have given it more of a shot. But I don't like open world games in third person or in first person. They drive me nuts. But I also know that you have a broader palette when it comes to gaming than I do. And so, but we got to adjust the resolution. The one or the 1080 looks squished. Oh. Oh yeah, I probably should have done 1440. I guess I can do that on the next stream. How
Well,
bad
Thrifty,
how bad
to
squished does it look? Go ahead, Will.
it doesn't look maybe on full screen it looks a little bit, but not that bad. What I was gonna say is my palette may be wider than yours now, but your palette has been a million times wider the whole gaming career. I mean, the only time that I kind of explored a little bit was in this Nintendo 64 era, Super Nintendo era, and that was
Gotcha.
basically because I can only get what I can get. Whether I like the game or not, that's what I got. The PS2 era, it was Vice City and a couple other games, but nothing major. PS3, non-existent gaming. PS4 was MLB The Show, a little bit of Call of Duty, and Madden. So your palette was is way wider when you take into consideration all these things. And
I've just sampled
this
more of the wine than you have up to this point. That's
yes,
it.
so what I'm trying to say is in the last couple years, I've just like anything, right? You try to experience things that you're not used to, and that's only going to open up your taste buds, right? Your gaming taste. And I highly recommend it because you are missing out on so many games right now. It is insane. And not just now, but into the future. First person is never going to go away. And look, some first person games absolutely suck. Just the camera angles, the way it looks, the mechanics, it's just complete trash. But you cannot let those games throw you off other games like Cyberpunk, which to me it's one of the best games in the history of video games, and people aren't playing it just because it's first party. And it blows my mind when
Mm.
it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, so let's talk about that expanding palette real quick. Somebody in Discord, which by the way, guys, because I have this like set up now, you can find the link to our Discord in the description of the video. You can also find links to Will's Twitter and my Twitter as well. Um, and so basically, um, You can find us all there. Anyways, somebody in the Discord sent this to me and asked me to talk about it tonight. And man, I, you know, if we never go full Ubisoft, there is one other company that we should almost never go to ever, and that's EA. But by God, they they're gonna make me do things I don't want to do. So we finally have a reveal of um, the college football 2025. And so let me get that pulled up here real quick so everybody can see it. Day. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Come on. I know. I know. You're doing okay. Let's go. Let's go. And crap. It did not show up. What a jerk. Hang on. I don't want to capture screen one. I want to capture. Hey, there it goes. All right. So here we go. We have this right here. EA finally reveals college football game date. Now, first of all, guys, I used to love to play these games. I would take them like my favorite team to get was Toledo because my dad was born in Toledo, Ohio. And the Toledo Rockets were always like a two-star team. And so you could get them, you could build them up, you could build your dynasty with them, you could build a player, you could have that player actually like work out, and for 4 years of football you controlled that player, and then if you got him good enough you could get him drafted into the next Madden game. It was so freaking awesome. I absolutely loved this. And so now we see, then this is from Sports Illustrated, actually. Holy crap. Within a couple of months, Pitt Panther fans and the rest of college football fans, the college football world, will be able to play their favorite sport right in the comfort of their own home. EA Sports teased the release of College Football 25 this year, promising the reveal would come in May, and the official release will be later in the summer. Now there is finally a release date that Pitt fans and many other fans have been waiting for. The game will be available for purchase on July 19th. Okay, so this makes me extremely, extremely excited. Okay. Also, if you go down to read, any player who wants to, well, I'm sorry, they sent it to a bajillion players, and yes, that's a number. And any player who wants to, they will be compensated $600 and a free copy of each game. So now we're getting their names on jerseys if they sign up for this. We're getting everything about them, their likeness, their face, their picture, all of it, and they get $600 for it now, which I think is pretty cool. Um, but this game, guys, I haven't been excited for a sports game, and I don't know how long. I think MLB The Show 19 or 18 was the last one I was excited for, and so like this is actually, I'm sorry, it was NHL 2021. Uh, this game is going to be freaking awesome. Now, that's my fanboy. Okay. The other side of this is that I know EA, and I know they can't help themselves with milking a game and a player base for everything that base is worth. So I'm also terrified that they're going to get their greedy little hands on this and they're gonna screw it up. And so, Will, we talked about how you said you used to play these football games in high school and stuff. What's your take on this? Are you super stoked about it? Did you do what I did? Did you always build up a dynasty, or did you take over the Crimson Tide or the USC Trojan?
Yeah, I always did that with MLB The Show. With football games, not really, just because there's so many damn players. I mean, you're talking about 55 in the roster at least, and it becomes a little too much. But yeah, that's the main reason why I love or I used to love those games was, create your own character, bring them up all the way from college to the pros, and build, sign new contracts, et cetera, et cetera. As far as EA goes, I am not looking forward to this game, not even a little bit. That has passed. It's the same reason why last year when Star Wars Outlaws was announced, I was super excited because I consider myself to be a big Star Wars fan, and the fact that finally the IP got opened up really excited me. Now, fast forward to today, I probably won't be getting Outlaws. One, because over the last year, I've canceled my Disney Plus subscription. The bullshit they've done with the IP has been driving me insane, and the excitement has just been dwindling. And now we find out you have to be online all the time. The story trailer really to me was just a super generic story, so that brought my excitement even down. So just like the football game, that time for me has passed, and I know a couple of my friends in real life have also said the same thing. It's like we've been too long without it. Um, all the controversies with college football and these players not getting paid and all this stuff is just taking a toll. And I think people are fed up. Some people are fed up. But the news that they're getting a little bit of money, getting, a free copy of the game and getting some additional incentives is great. I really hope the game does well. But for me personally and from people around me, this means absolutely nothing. I think it's too little too late.
Man, isn't that so freaking sad though? Like, isn't because and that's I mentioned that's the other side of what like goes through my head every time I see this. Like, great, EA did this. That's awesome. I am super excited. But then I have to remember all the bull crap that EA's done over the past several years. Like, games as a service is all that matters. People don't like single player games. We don't like single player games here. We're not going to continue that. Oh, Jedi Survivor does amazing numbers, but it comes out dog shit. And
Oh, and remember,
like,
Ubisoft told us get used to not owning your games, and they kept their word on that end.
right. And so it's just that thing that I'm like, man, I don't I'm super excited. I really am. Like, I really really want it to be great. Nelson, whose volume? Mine or his? Because you're the first person that said something wrong with volume. What you got? Anyways, so yeah, I don't understand why we have to be in this position. To be quite honest, if I'm gonna sound like a selfish gamer just for a second, why do I have to be in this position? Why? Like, why can't we just get a great game that doesn't do it? Oh wait, hang on. We have one. We have one. You know what that game is? It's right here. Watch. Watch. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Watch this game right here. No microtransactions, full-fledged game, $70. Looks amazing. It says will is a little low. I can fix that shit. I got you right there. Look at this. This is the kind of games that we're getting. This is the kind of stuff that is coming over here from PlayStation and their affiliates, and I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry if this game's going to be freaking fantastic, if it's going to be amazing. I don't have to worry if it's going to be amazing or if it's going to be crap. I really don't. But with other companies, mainly EA and Ubisoft, and I think it's because those two are the only two companies that have taken this route that I think still produce good games. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, look, and with on the Discord, I think it was yesterday where everybody was talking shit on. Oh, I think it was actually Nelson who said Ubisoft hasn't come out or the first talking about Star Wars. He said something like the first decent game coming out of Ubisoft, and I'm like, well, I don't think that's true because Prince of Persia was a damn good game. Avatar is a pretty good game. The new Assassin's Creed Mirage, that's a pretty good game. So they've been on this upwards roll where they're coming out with decent stuff, right? And for me, I go as far back as Valhalla. Valhalla to me was a good game too. I mean, was it bloated? Absolutely. But those are optional things that you can or can't do. And the thing that people have a hard time with Valhalla, for example, is the shiny stuff on the map, right? Because they just can't skip it. They see something shiny, they have to go get it. Next thing you know, it's an hour later, and that shiny thing ties into another shiny thing that completes your armor. And now you wasted 6 hours on that one thing, that boosts your armor 3 points. And you're like, oh, what the hell, man? I spent all this time on that. And look, I get it. That's frustrating because I like to complete. maps and the game as much as possible as well. But at the same time, we had this discussion with Spider-Man 2, right? Where I think the sentiment was that Spider-Man could have been just a little bit longer, right? A lot of us got the platinum in between 30 to 40 hours. And after waiting all that time, we're just like, damn, just a little bit more would have hit the spot. And I feel like Spider-Man was a little bit too short. And then the discussion comes up is, okay, if we're paying $70 for these games, how long do they have to be? And some people will say, well, as long as the story's good, it doesn't matter if the game is only 6, 10 hours. But if the story sucks and they have to come up with it in different ways, and it's got to be this and that. So everybody's always going to have a perspective. To me, I always say more is better than not enough. It's not Ubisoft's fault. It's not EA's fault. It's not Santa Monica's fault or any of the developers' fault that they put too many things in there and you have a hard time kind of ignoring it. But it's we've gotten to a point now with games where you're right, we can see it. We can see the trailer. It's our the type of game that we like. It's got the type of combat that we like. It's got some new things in there that we think are gonna be cool. But then we have to worry about the other shit, right? And these companies, it's nothing new where they promise us these things or they show us what they want us to see. Once they get our pre-order money, once they get the first day purchase, and people start playing the game, then all the bullshit starts to come out. And by then it's too damn late because you already gave them your money. So I have been turning this leaf more and more as the days go by and weeks and months of not buying games day one and just waiting a day, waiting 2 days, waiting a week to see the shit flourish and see if I can deal with it.
Yeah, just to kind of see how it looks and how it's going to play. Like that's honestly, that's what I did with Rise of Ronin, and I'm glad I did. Like it's not a game that I just immediately after seeing like gameplay of it, I just didn't need to go out and purchase it, and so that was actually really good. But War Awana just said in chat, don't trust previews, and yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like you can't necessarily trust like I'm not going to call him out, but there was a person in the Discord who, like, upon seeing the Star Wars Outlaws story trailer, actually pre-ordered the game. And that's just not me. That's not who I am. That's not me. What's up, Jez? Hey, guys, shout out to Jez again. He is the reason why the stream is where it is. He is the one who really hooked me up on it, and so I really appreciate all of that. And he also had a show earlier. And so, yeah, thanks, man. And so, anyways, the well, shit, what was I doing? Yeah. Okay, so anyways, yeah, the trailer came out, and I'm sitting here watching. I'm going, oh, this looks really cool. This looks really cool. And then I was like, wait, it's a single player story game. Oh, it's not like a third person shooter that's gonna have co-op and you get to create your own character and all that. I was like, oh no, this is a full-on story game, kind of like Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order. And so that did pique my interest, but to order it day one when all we got is a story trailer, I don't know. Ubisoft still has me on that. Okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit, and then after everybody else says it's really good, then I'm gonna go ahead and Outsider Gaming Night. I went full Ubisoft with Star Wars Outlaws. And so, but yeah, I waited on Mirage, and now I'm gonna be able to get the game for like $20, which is awesome. I'm probably gonna wait on Outlaws, maybe depending on what what Sony has up their sleeve. But Will, you said you're out of it, and this is kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about. So you said you're out, and I respect that. But I think I'm going to push back a little bit for the first time in a while on this topic. I might just be playing devil's advocate, but let's go ahead and bring this back up. Star Wars Outlaws physical release will require a download to install. This is from Game Rant. And actually, before Game Rant even put it out, Will actually sent us a screenshot. And I don't know if he got it from Twitter or X or if that was what he found on his own. But he sent us a screenshot, and it showed on there internet required to download, which does suck. You waiting on AC Red? I don't know. I don't. We're not there yet. It's just, we're not. Listen, I got to get through April, okay? Star Wars Outlaws physical. Okay, the box cover for Star Wars Outlaws confirmed players who purchase a physical copy will need an internet connection to install the game. I can go on and read all the rest of this crap, but it's basically the same thing. But let's give it a shot. Confirms the disc shit. Outlaws confirms players with a physical disc will still need an internet connection to play the game. Star Wars Outlaws recently unveiled a new story trailer which featured a sneak peek at Ubisoft's upcoming open world galaxy far, far away, blah, 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 blah. For now, large parts of the gaming community have been rallying against the trend of always online video gaming. Uh, there are varying reasons for players to distrust over titles employing systems that necessitate a stable internet connection. Some have pointed out how online functionalities do not last forever. While the life of a title can last for years, depending on how well it can retain a decent sized player base, servers will inevitably shut down. This sometimes leaves the always online games completely unplayable, which is notably what happened when Ubisoft's The Crew shut down its servers. But others question the need for online functionality in what is intended to be a single-player video game, and have championed the continued sale of complete physical copies in an increasingly digitized medium. The players were likely disappointed when the cover was revealed. The physical copies of Massive Entertainment's upcoming title won't be playable from the get-go. A post from ex-user Wario64. Good job, Wario64. Hey, between that dude and Will, I was able to snag myself a PlayStation Portal. So Wario64 put it on X. Will got the alert. Will sent it to me, and I secured the thing. So shout out to Wario64. Uh, it showed the box art for Best Buy's online shop, which included a disclaimer at the bottom left stating that players needed an internet connection to install the game. This wasn't the first time an additional download was listed as a requirement for copies of a Ubisoft single-player title, with physical units for Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora requiring an installation or a connection for installation as well. Okay, so Will, let me ask you. So, with that, I understand. Always online, always sucks. Forever and ever, forever will. If the game is good, can you look past that? Currently.
Well,
I'm not going to sit and go, "Oh, you downloaded Frontiers of Pandora and it was fine then,
yeah.
so why not?" That's bullshit. That's not now. People's minds can change. So like now, do you view it as if the game is a banger, you're still going to say no?
Well, three things. That's actually what you said about the Pandora. That's actually a legit question, right? I didn't know. I did not know that it was all. So
So
it was a
I
mistake on
didn't
my
know.
part.
I puffed, but I did
If
not inhale. I did not know.
yeah, I didn't know. If I would have known, would I have still purchased it? Maybe. I don't know. Probably, right? I guess I'm at this point now because it's more than just the game. It's not. I'm not. And by the way, I said that my excitement level is going down. I never said I'm not gonna get it. If I do get it, it's not gonna be day one, right? Which is weird for me because I tend to get almost all games that I have high interest in day one. But the this game in particular, Star Wars, is not 100% of it always being online. That is it's not 100% of the reason of why I am thinking of getting it or not getting it. 50% of that is the IP itself. The IP itself has been dragged through the mud the last 10 years. Like, for example, the story trailer basically tells us it's a person, the main character is kind of like a scoundrel, kind of like a hustler. Why couldn't they have used Han Solo for something like that? Like they already established some things, they could have tied it in, and we all know Disney's heavily involved. So are you telling me that that was out of the question, right? So that's 50%. It's just because they've been dragging this IP through the mud for the last 10 years. They've been giving us these movies and TV shows that are complete ass. Out of the 10 they come out, one is good. Like, so I'm just kind of fed up with it. But the always online part of it is Me seeing the game, the lightsabers, the Star Wars universe, like that still intrigues me. That's what got me into Avatar is the alien world, the alien planet. Not necessarily that it's a first person or a shooter or anything like that. So that part is still captivating me. But at a certain point, I have to make sacrifices in order for things that I want to change to happen. Because there's so many people that will shit on the all online thing, but they're the first ones pre-ordering a game like this. They're the first ones buying games day one. And it's like, dude, Ubisoft knows. They know that gamers don't want always online or online connection or none of that shit. They know that. As a matter of fact, they know that so much that they made it a point to tell you get used to not owning your damn games. So not only do they know, they're saying we don't give a shit what you say
Sure.
because you're gonna go ahead and buy it anyways. So let's just say my excitement level at 100 and I couldn't wait to play this game. I will still be taking that self-sacrifice, which may not mean shit to nobody. Nobody's gonna give a fuck, right? But for me, it does. And if I feel like this is the way I can actually make an impact, and instead of Ubisoft selling 5 million copies of this game, they sell 4,900,999 copies, and they didn't reach that 5 million because of me. To me, that's a win. So it's more than just because it's always online. It has to do with the IP. And throughout video game history, licensed games 9 times out of 10 are trash. They're usually money grabs. They're usually just not good. As time has gone on, PS3, PS4, PS5 gen, these games have become way better, right? They're actually some of the best games out there is our licensed games. But once again, I'm in the side of digital is no good. We need to speak with our wallets, and what better way for me to talk, walk the talk when we have a game that we know is going to be online. We know that it's a Ubisoft game where all the political correctness, the woke bullshit, all that's going to be part of it. And it's right here, right now. Well, I just decided to take a stand on it with this game. Now, if there's a game that comes out next month that has the same thing, I will also react the same exact way. It's just hard with this one
Because
because it's a Star Wars
it's Star
and it
Wars.
looks good and it
It
looks good.
it
Let's
looks
be
good.
real, it looks good.
It looks like they fucked up the character models with a shredder,
Well, yeah,
but you know,
and that's expected, but the game
that's,
looks good,
no,
dude.
it's
It
not.
looks
It's
like
not expected. Bullshit. Here, let me show you why it's not expected. All right, JTech TV. Here, watch this. Twitter X. Here we go. Watch. Here's why it's not acceptable. Okay, I'm about to show you why that
well, I didn't say
shouldn't
it's
be.
acceptable.
I didn't. I'm about to
I
show
just
you
said it's
why
expected.
it shouldn't be expected. Here was the first one, Jedi Survivor. Okay, look at the two actors. Look at this guy. Look. Boom, 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 boom. That's a damn near one-to-one replicant. Okay?
Yeah,
Damn
but that's
near.
with men.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, look at this one. Look at this one. It looks like they gave her no food for a decade and also made her smoke a pack of cigarettes a day for the most of her natural born life. Like, that's not okay. Like, I know y'all can do better because this shit was on the PS4. Like, and so I said we weren't going to get into it much, but then I said we probably were, and guess what? I am, because this is crap. Like, and we know Ubisoft does this. We know most video games are doing this, or not most. We know a lot of Western studios are doing this, where they take a male actor and they make the male counterpart look awesome, look fantastic. Damn near even the eyes are the exact same. Even the eyes are the same. And then you come over here to this one, and you're like, oh, I mean, no. Like it in a side by side, you can tell that one is supposed to be the other. But if you just made me look at both of them separately, I would never be able to tell. And that's not the point of facial capture. That's not the point of all the mocap that's done. If you use those techniques, you should use them effectively. Make them look like who they're freaking supposed to be. Great example, Stellar Blade. They didn't use the model's face, but they used everything else. And they made it look like what they wanted. And anyways, sorry. That's it. It's annoying. And when you brought up the woke stuff, I was like, man, I I got to, and then I remember JTech had this on here, and I just wanted to share that. Like, it's the posturing, it's the hey, we're just trying to be realistic. Then
No,
why'd you give my dude right here the most sparkly set of green eyes when his eyes in this other photo in the real photo look like they're dead inside? Like, no, don't tell me that. You did it because it looks better, makes him look more attractive. Why'd you make his hair flow better instead of being stuck, gelled to the side? It's because it looks better. Like,
because remember, Thrifty, this is what I said earlier that they know what we're saying. They know what we want and we don't want. They just don't give a shit. And I said this 2 weeks ago, I think, where I was listening to like behind the scenes interviews with developers and shit, and like shit that's not like released. It's like anonymous kind of interviews. And the number one conclusion I came out is developers hate you. They hate you, the gamer. Yes, you, Nelson, Outside Gaming, Warwana, Michael, everybody in here, Hero. They hate us. Okay, we are in the way of them making what they actually want to make in order for it to match their ideology. They need us because of the money. That's the only thing they need us for. And I also, another conclusion that I found out is a lot of these people, they're just computer engineers. Like, they didn't go to school to aspire to become a video game programmer. No, they got the job because there's a market that's growing tremendously. So they're not in it for the love of gaming. They're not in it for none of that crap. And look, I don't expect them to. Of course not. You cannot expect every single person to love what they do. And that's not my complaint at all. But it's just the little things like that keep adding on of why things like this are happening. And look, don't ever feel guilty for wanting something. If you go to a steak restaurant and you order medium rare and they bring out well done and they say to you, well, well right thing because we use less charcoal to cook the meat, so therefore we're saving, we're being a little bit more green. No, you're a paying customer. You should get what you pay for, right? Now, since the video game industry is not that specific, right, where you say, well, I want a third party shooter with 4 lives, and if I die, I should be able to get to this checkpoint. It doesn't get that specific. It's more varied and more wide range. Therefore, what I'm doing with Outlaws is extremely important because, guys, at what point are we going to put our foot down and say enough is enough? Are we going to continue for it to get even worse than what it's at now? Or do we continue till the gaming industry is completely demolished and now we're back to playing 2D games, 16-bit? Like, at what point is enough for you? And if you're getting to that point where enough is now, then start speaking with your wallet because that's how
yeah,
they understand you.
that's I would say that that's all they understand. So, you know, I watched the intro to or listened to the
Am I
intro to.
yelling? Does it
No,
sound
you're
like
not.
I'm yelling?
You're
Okay,
not
okay.
yelling. No, they actually were bitching earlier because they couldn't hear either one of us. So they're better now. And so, like, I'm just kidding. I love y'all. So I was listening to the beginning of Brap's podcast, and he was talking about WWE, and then you're talking about how like storytelling and all this other stuff, and speaking with your wallet. Well, what's really funny is WWE up until this last year was having like downward spiral with talent going to AEW, AEW storytelling being better. WWE people could call the matches and what was going to happen like a week before the pay-per-view. They were stuck in a rut. They didn't know how to get out of it. And the problem was is that Vince McMahon, the old head, also despicable human being, but the old head was just stuck in his ways and didn't want to listen to anybody and very arrogant, very headstrong, very he knew what was best for the fans, he knew what was best for the audience, and that just wasn't the case. He was too old and he needed to go. We know other people like that in life and in our even maybe in our workplaces where like you just get out of touch. New blood came in and finally was able to take over with creative ideas, and now WWE is on a rocket trajectory again. Whether I like the product or not doesn't matter. Which is why I can look at games like The Last of Us or The Last of Us Part 2 and go, I hate that damn game with a bloody passion. But at the same time, I can see that it's propelled Naughty Dog to a pretty hellacious level. Like everybody's on pins and needles wondering what their next game is because we know what they've been able to do. And so when you constantly bite our hands and constantly bite our hands and constantly bite our hands, like we will end up biting back as a gamer. Like, and we'll do that not by force, not by acting retarded or stupid, or not by who can be the loudest on X, but by not buying a game. Or in the case of movies and TV shows or wrestling, not watching the product. Like, we have the ability to say, no, we're not doing that. I've played games before, a mobile game called Marvel Contest of Champions. I played it for like 7 years. And at update 12 point whatever they did, it sent the game into like just a downward spiral. Nothing worked. Everybody's character synergies were all screwed up. Nothing happened properly. You couldn't block in a fight anymore. You couldn't like they almost blew up the game. And so what happened? All of the whales got together and literally had to sit down with Kabam Studios and like had a community meeting where they had talked with us first and then relayed all of our concerns and this and that and basically said, "Hey guys, listen, we're not spending money on your game anymore until you fix this." There was a full out fix in a week. it was it was fixed. It was back to the old way, and everything went on hunky dory, and the game is still going. I don't play it anymore, but
Dude, that's amazing.
I kid you not, dude. That's why I stuck with that game for so long because I was like, oh, okay,
Dude,
this
that sounds so exciting to me. Like, man,
like
that's
we felt like
revolution.
we felt like we had power. We really did. We felt like we were like, okay, cool. If this
Well, you
happens,
did.
if this happens, I can just go let dude know, and he's gonna rally the guys. And if it's egregious enough, they'll stop spending again, get an audience, and boom. And I'm like, damn. And it worked. So you have to spend, you have to vote with your wallet. You have to talk with your wallet. And you also have to talk with your time. Like,
Yeah.
right now, I have a 1 month free of Game Pass. Okay? I don't necessarily need and or want 1 month free of Game Pass. It does nothing for me. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to sit on it and not use it. Because that's one less number that they get. That's one less engagement they get. I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of thinking that this is a good thing to give somebody who just spent $1,000 on one of your PCs. Like that's not that's to me that's like, "Oh, here, try this. Hopefully you get locked." It's a trap is what it is. It's a breadcrumb hoping to lead to a bigger piece of bread. The problem is the bread is in my wallet and they're trying to steal it. So, anyways, you can vote with your
And
time, you can vote with your wallet. Go ahead, Will. I've monopolized
before
a lot.
no, you're good. Before we take off from this subject, something else I want to talk about in regards to this is not just games, guys. Kotaku, I have them blocked on X. Mentions blocked. Anybody bringing up Kotaku, I have them blocked. I don't want to see it. I don't, and not because I'm not interested, right? Because I have as much fun as anybody else when they write some real dumb shit, right? I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is a great talking, topic to bring up with the boys on the Discord. But the reason I have them blocked is because that one view, that one click, that one like, that one share that they're not gonna get from me. Why is it that in the video game industry, which is probably the most profitable industry in the world, entertainment wise, it is the most profitable industry in the world, right? Entertainment wise. Why is it that our journalists are so subpar? It's not even funny. I mean, we look at our media, right? Like mainstream media, like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all this stuff, right? They are a fraction of video game industry, a fraction. But yet their journalists are going to war-torn countries. They're going to different conflicts all over the world. They're actually putting their lives in danger. And look, I don't expect a journalist from Kotaku, right, to go to North Korea because they found out North Korea or Russia because Russia's going to develop a console. I don't expect them to do all that, right? But I expect them to actually dig in and get the truth and inform the customer, inform the gamer, us. But a lot of their shit is opinion based. It's non-factual. They bring no evidence. And look at the article Thrifty just read. I think it was the one about with Ubisoft and Always Online.
Hmm.
Like they could have said that in two sentences, but the rest of that was opinion. Why is it that we have to deal with subpar games, subpar coverage, subpar journalists? Everything is subpar. Everything is middle of the mall. Everything is low tier. When it is the most profitable branch of the entertainment industry in the world. I do not understand that. Why? Because we keep endorsing this shit, whether we're shitting on them by sharing a stupid post they made or stupid article, or whether you actually follow their ideology or the way they do things and you're actually sharing it on purpose. Either way, they don't care. They're receiving the benefits. It is time we cut these people off. Same thing with YouTubers. I went from listening to a podcast every single day. Now I listen to two, and this is one of them.
Me too.
Two,
Dude.
two.
So, what's real funny is I don't even listen to a full podcast anymore, which sucks. I try to listen to most of Jez's, but it depends on how my kids are going to bed at that time.
Yeah.
Then I catch a little bit of JTech and a little bit of Mooch. Tonight was the first time I'd ever heard Brap. I listened for about 30 minutes because I was able to set up all this stuff and get it all ready to go, and it doesn't take near as much time now that it's all here. And so I was like, dang. I looked over at my wife and I was like, dang, this is the first time that I've been 30 minutes away from the show, not trying to get the title typed out, not trying to get everything done on the PlayStation, and making sure I have the game pulled up and all this other stuff and hashtags doing and all that. I was like, this thing just does it for you. And so I was listening to his show, but I don't listen to a lot. And I will say this: if Reforge is covering a topic that I like care about, then I'll I'll throw over there. But like, I just don't anymore, and that sucks because I used to listen to a lot of these guys daily. Like you said, man, I had my week planned out by Jez was on Monday, Proc was on Tuesday, I
Mm-hmm.
was on Wednesday, Salty was on Thursday, Mooch was on Friday, and then the Wake Up PlayStation I think was on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, from Jay Barry
Yeah,
and yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I used to watch every day except Sunday. I had a show to go to. And no, I just I don't.
And just to give you an example, is I used to be like that, but the guys that I just can't get to him, right? Because like Jess, for example, Jess is man, he's like my favorite dude. Is hilarious. His shit is high quality. I mean, he comes out with new songs. So whenever I can't listen to him because of schedule or whatever or work, I I subscribe to Jess. I pay $5 monthly for Jess, even though I can't watch all his shit because I support what he does. So I can't give him my time, but I can definitely give him $5 every month for the subscription. I can buy a super chat every once in a while. I have the chance to peep my head in. I can do that, a dollar sticker or whatever. I endorse these guys because these guys are putting in work. Jess is putting in a lot of work. Guys like Thrifty, I can't wait till he gets to that $500 so I can be the first subscriber. You know what I'm saying? So like little things like that. So you can support when you can and how you can. But as much as we support when we can and how we can, when we like something, we also have to take away that support because it's like your kids. Like me and my son had this conversation all the time. Like he just did some a couple weeks ago, and I told him like, all right, man. So me being as a parent, what do you think punishment should be? And we sat down, we had a discussion, and at the end of it, I didn't even punish the kid. Why? Because he understood what he did wrong. He came with a good punishment, a good conclusion of how we could fix his behavior. And I just like, you know what? This was enough. I'm not gonna take away your video
You
games. I'm not
got
gonna
it.
ground you. You fixed it. And he fixed the issue ever since then. But with these guys, we cannot have these conversations. They're not listening. And when they do, for example, like on Twitter, they automatically attack you instead of taking it as constructive criticism. How I can make my channel better, how can I make my writing better, how can I make my investigation or my interviews better. They look at everything as an attack and they close themselves off when in reality you're the one they need. Thrifty, are we gonna get into like Hellblade or 30 frames or anything like that
We
in the
might, we
podcast
might.
today?
We're moving through
Okay,
these topics pretty quick. We only
because I'll save
have,
that.
yeah, we only have three more, and then we're gonna, if we have time, we'll nail that. And these
Okay.
others won't take long. So actually, you know what? Let's move on real quick. I'm just gonna ask a real quick question. Will, are you excited for a Prince of Persia game? Do you remember the old series at all?
I just bought Prince of Persia from Ubisoft that came out last
No, no,
month, a
no.
couple months ago.
I mean the old series, the Sands of Time.
Oh no, I've never played them. That
Okay.
was in my I wasn't playing video games like that.
Okay, so Sands of Time was like it was a hybrid between, if I
Uh,
remember correctly, it was a hybrid between an action game
like a
and
platformer,
a
right?
platformer, like a Metroidvania style. Uh, but it was
It's known as a masterpiece, right?
it was so good. It was so good, and then every game after it got subsequently worse. So bad. Oh, it was so bad. And like that's why when this other one came out back in January, I think it was so good. Um, but anyways, so there was a rumor a long time ago that we were going to be getting a Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, and then like it fucking disappeared. And people thought that Prince of Persia, whatever the newest one is called, when we saw the trailer, most of us were like, "Dang, this looks like Prince of Persia. Is this Sands of Time?" And when we saw that it wasn't, the Lost Crown, when we saw that it wasn't, it was like, oh, this is a whole new thing. And it kind of resurfaced this, but then it went away again real quick. And so, anyways, according to Insider Gaming, Ubisoft Montreal has apparently completely redone the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. While footage was provided, it was under the condition that it wouldn't be shown publicly. Insider Gaming describes the footage as the game being in early development with missing textures and assets, so it's a Ubisoft game. The overhaul reportedly includes a more realistic graphical approach with new animations and mechanics for combat and parkour. Additionally, it appears that the voice of actor Yuri Lowenthal is reportedly no longer reprising his role. He was the Prince's original voice actor and also appeared in the remake's initial reveal trailer. That's interesting. They probably have him locked down doing Spider-Man, so he can't do the voice for this because of timeline. Ubisoft is reportedly going to provide a more substantial update on the remake's progress, but it's unclear when that will be. Ubisoft is hosting the Ubisoft Forward presentation in June, so it is possible that it will make an appearance there. However, fans of the series has been given treats with excellent Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which was released back in January, and there is a rumor of a roguelike Prince of Persia game in the works by Dead Cells, and it's actually not a rumor, that is true. Dreamcast guy has a video up where he actually played the roguelike and kind of gives his thoughts on it. So it looks this is along the same fucking lines as EA. Okay, guys, like everything that I just read sounded really good. Like everything I read makes me go, oh hell yeah, man. They're back. They're bringing back these franchises. They're doing it. They're making little good games for the client or for the customer, for the client. I am the client. Like this sounds really cool. But then I remember it's fucking Ubisoft. So let me ask you, chat. Uh, are you excited for a Prince of Persia game? It's obviously still in the works. That's really cool. Will doesn't have much to say about it. All I remember was the
I
mechanic.
do.
Oh, you do? You said you
I
hadn't played
do.
it. Go ahead. Let me hear. What's your
Just because I
thoughts?
haven't played it doesn't mean so I look at Prison Persia like I do with damn, what's a Dead the remake.
Dead Island?
Dead Space.
Dead Space. Okay.
I never played Dead Space, but I knew about it because a lot of guys love that game, right? It was one of the best games of the PS3 360 era, so I heard a lot about it, just Persia. So as somebody who's never played it, I'm excited, right? Me and Nelson have been talking about. I've been wanting to buy a rebuy a PS3, and Nelson's kind of been helping me out a little bit on finding one. And part of the reason I want one is to get back into some of those old games that are not available on PS4 or PS5 or backwards compatibility. So as somebody from the outside, I am super interested. I've been following Prince of Persia: Sands of Time for about 5, 6 years now, and all the rumors. So I am fully aware. And if this game doesn't come out, it's really gonna hurt. But what's gonna hurt more if they come out with Prince of Persia with microtransactions, always online, digital only.
Oh no! Come on. Was the was
If
the was the last
they're
Prince
doing
of
it with
Persia?
Star Wars, why wouldn't they do it with that?
Well, because uh, was the last game online only?
The new one they did, the Prince of Persia, the new one?
Yes.
No, it wasn't. But why? Because they didn't have no microtransactions. It was just even Assassin's Creed Mirage that had you can upgrade, you can buy like skins and stuff like that. This Prince of Persia game, Sands of Time, not Sands of Time, but the new one that just came out,
The Lost Crown.
that one, Lost Crown, that is the video game that we have always remembered. You go to the store, you buy it. It's on the disc, you put it in, it installs into your system, you play it. There's nothing you can buy, there's nothing you can purchase. There is a DLC that you can purchase, or you get that with the deluxe edition, which was $10 more. But that is it.
Hmm. So
How long
yeah.
did it take me to Kyle? It took me about 60, 70 hours to platinum Helldivers.
Oh, nice. I didn't even see that
And you could get
message.
it done way faster. I
Oh, there it
just
is.
didn't focus on the platinum until, I decided to do it. Sorry about that, Thrifty.
Nah, you good, man. You're good. We interact with the chat. J1, what's up? Nelson, what are you doing, man? Happy to see you. I saw you here in here earlier. I haven't really done shout outs to everybody. Hero, Michael, Outsider Gaming Night. Hey, I said your name without fucking it up that time. Woohoo, go me. Josh, RPG88 is here. Jez is in the house tonight. Guys, I appreciate all of y'all showing up. Hit that like button, share this out if you haven't already, and we are going to continue. So, uh, couple things. First, we're just going to kind of combine these two. Sony Studios are actually cooking. I know it's like a damn slow roast over there, and I get that. The house is smelling real good right now. We're all sitting here around like the couch in the living room with the TV on, and there's sports on it, and all the ladies are in the kitchen cooking, all the men are out watching the game, and the house is just starting to smell amazing. But when we ask and go in there, we're just turned away. We're told to get the hell out of the kitchen and let them cook. And I feel like that's what's happening at Sony, and that's what's been happening for far too long. I'm really ready for the food to be done, but we have gotten some more information. This is like when you were a kid and your mom used to be cutting the Velveeta cheese to make some cheese dip for the weekend. You'd go in and you'd go, "Hey mom, is it ready yet?" And she'd go, "No, son, it's not ready yet, but here you go." And she'd cut you off a little cube of the cheese and give it to you just to get you the hell out of the kitchen and make you go away for a little bit. Well, we have some news like that tonight. We have it here. Sony Santa Monica, Sony Santa Monica is seemingly hiring for a new God of War game. So, they said that the franchise was over, said they weren't really going to be doing much more. Then the game sold like hotcakes, and they're like, you know what? We were just kidding. But we're working on this other thing first. And so we knew that we were going to go ahead and get it. We knew it was going to be awesome. And now it looks like we will be waiting, that the wait has been confirmed at least, because a new job listing for Sony Santa Monica Studios specifically notes that the applicants should have experience with God of War and God of War Ragnarok, which could suggest it's working on a new entry in the series. No shit, Sherlock. Hey, this guy is Sherlock Holmes. I appreciate that. I appreciate his making his little add-in right there. It could suggest they're working on a new entry in the series. Even before God of War Ragnarok was officially announced, it was made pretty clear by creative director Cory Balrog that the team was working on more than just Kratos North adventures. Norse Adventures. Although we have yet to see what else Santa Monica Studios is working on because we keep getting pushed out of the kitchen like little children who just want to eat some damn dinner. Beyond it seeming like it has nothing or something to do with space, it does seem like the team has a few active projects. While it looks like we're going to have to keep waiting to find out about what Santa Monica Studios has been cooking up for the last few years, it seems that at least one of the games that it is being worked on could have something to do with God of War, as reported by Push Square and originally spotted by Geekin' Out. A new job listing from the team has as an interesting detail. It mentions 4+ years in game development, blah, 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 blah. God of War, God of War, God of War. Need to know about God of War. And must be able to speak and discuss in-depth hero combat systems, mechanic, and enemies in one or more third-person melee action RPGs. That last sentence right there, this one right here, oh, y'all can't see it. Hang on. This sentence right here is going to get me to purchase the game already. This little sentence down here. This one. Yeah, damn it, it's not working. Bastard. Yeah, but anyways, the bottom sentence right here. Third person melee action RPG. That is my type of game all the way through and through. And it says one of the latest job listings posted for Santa Monica is a senior combat designer, which will be focused specifically on the new game's main character, which is probably going to be Atreus. But you didn't hear it here. Actually, you did timestamp this shit because I've been saying we were going to get an Atreus DLC ever since I beat the first one because it makes logical freaking sense. And him and that little black giant girl are freaking adorable. So, anyways, Will, what do you think on this, man? What do you think about Sony Santa Monica? Do you think God of War is a big game, small, or do you think the new God of War title will be a big game, small game? What do you think, man?
Um, I think Ragnarok actually. I think that they're gonna have to move away from the God of War IP real soon, real soon. I think this new game might do worse as far as sales goes compared to Ragnarok. I
Really?
think, yeah, I think that the hype for it is dying down. I mean, God of War 2018, people were talking about that for years. This one died out a month or two after.
It sold over
Then it got,
12 or 15 million copies, didn't it?
yeah, it did.
Oh,
It,
okay.
it sold a
Okay.
lot. And that's taking that into consideration. The only other time that God of War got brought up was when they released the Valhalla DLC or the DLC. I forget the name of it, but is it gonna be a great game or good game? Absolutely. I mean, it's a Sony Santa Monica studio. They're gonna do a great job. And the reason I say this, well, the reason of me saying this is because I believe it's gonna be an Atreus game. I don't think Kratos will be the main character, and I think that's what's gonna hurt it in the long run. If they don't go with Atreus and they stick with Kratos and stick him in Egypt or something like that, then I think the game has a chance. The IP has a chance to grow. But if they don't, I think that is gonna start going on the decline. Am I excited? Yes, I'm excited because in today's world, the good quality, high production AAA games are really starting to look like it's few and far in between.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know if they're few and far between. I just think that the studios that we expect them to come from aren't the studios giving them to us anymore. Like,
Well, that shouldn't be like Ubisoft, right? There's a lot of AAA studios out there, but look at what we've been getting. Look at Suicide Squad. Look at what Ubisoft is doing. I mean, there's a lot of studios out there that have had a great history of making awesome games. Bethesda, I mean, the list goes on and on. And then there's other studios that we haven't seen in a generation and a half, right? Like the people that make Mass Effect, Dragon's Age, like these people, I'm excited to see what they're working in. And I think when they come out, it's really going to turn around our view of the AAA industry because right now I feel like it's the same developers coming out with the same games. It's the Ubisoft, it's the Sony. And look, Sony's the one that's keeping the industry alive and exciting in my opinion, but we're not seeing a lot of these old developers producing games, like the guy who made BioShock, Judas. The next that game is very anticipated, but the last time he came out with something has been how long? So I think that the next couple of years in the AAA industry is gonna make or break it. Either people are gonna continue to spend their $70 happily, or 80 or 90 or $100, or in Ubisoft's case, $170 or whatever craziness it was, or they're gonna continue with this battle of we want these AA 40, $50 games like Helldivers and Pal World and stuff like that.
I don't know. I actually like those lower priced games, but the other thought is, what if the big AAA titles start costing, 80, $90, unless you just said this, and then the $50 titles start costing 60, $70? Like,
Well, I mean, that will be a decision for each individual person to make. And I'll tell you this, the ones that are buying games right now, they're going to continue to buy the games as well one day, no matter how much it costs. If the game is interesting enough, they're going to continue to buy them. I think where the change is going to be is on pre-orders. I think that's where you're going to see the biggest drop off. If the game, for example, goes up from 70 to like 80 or $90, I think instead of them getting a million, pre-order sales, they might get five, 600,000.
hmm,
And then the rest will come in once the game is released, if it's released, which is kind of going to hurt them a little because instead of getting a million pre-orders and then a million day one and then a million week after, they might get 500,000 pre-orders and then another 500,000 day one, which would have been the 500,000 they should have got on the pre-orders, but because of the price, now people are a little bit more wary. And then the second week of sales, then you're getting those day ones or that first week sales then. So then I think the when a game comes out, most of the sales is in the first month, right? And then it kind of goes down, incrementally. I think that the slope will be more steady going down. So instead of it going from, this is just an example, I don't know, but instead of going from a million day one to 500,000 day two to 100,000 week three to 50,000 week four, I think the incremental loss will be more like 500,000 day one, 400,000 week two, 300,000 week three, and so on and so on. So I don't think the drop off will be that extreme, but it'll be more
hmm.
consistent than what it is now.
So Josh just said something in chat. He said if you want physical to survive, you need pre-orders to increase, which is why I've heard people when talking about Stellar Blade, like, don't do physical copies, don't do physical, because the developer gets more money if you don't do physical, because that cuts out another middleman. Also, you can't get the any of the or the downloadable content, the costumes, anything like that. You don't you don't get those if you don't get the Ultimate Edition on digital. They don't have a collector's edition or a deluxe edition on physical. And so, but I
Yeah, but
still
you can always
have.
buy that stuff day one. There's never been a game where there's a deluxe edition digital, and when you like the Jedi Survivor, you can get the deluxe edition for I got it physically. It was like 80 or $90. I think it was $80. And when I installed it, I can still buy it for $10 extra. Same thing. There's just so many games. As far as now, what they are doing now is they'll come out with multiple digital options of the game, right? So they'll have the base game for the 70, then they'll have like digital deluxe for 80, and then they'll have like a ultimate for 120, and then physical they only have the base game for 70 and then the ultimate or collector's edition for the 200 or 250 or whatever. But those 10 $20 difference in DLCs or whatever, you can buy that separately. Like the Avatar game, that was season pass and then some additional stuff. And then on the super rare instances, they do something like Hogwarts Legacy did, where only on PlayStation you can get this mission, or only digital you can get this skin. But those are few and far in between. So
Yeah.
it's not the majority of games. Now, what Josh said, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll say this one last thing and I'll pass it back. What Josh said with the pre-orders, if we don't the less we pre-order, the less physical they're making, right? And yes, that is true. The less we pre-order, the less physical they're gonna sell. But at the same time, we're in a day and age where physical is the last thing they're thinking of. Even PlayStation with a collector's edition, they don't even include a disc in there, which is preventing me from buying collector's edition in the future. I will not buy another collector's edition. Now, I say this, Outcast: A New Beginning, publisher is THQ Nordic. That edition costs $220.
Damn.
They are a double A company, and I'm sorry, 199. They are a double A company, and they included a disc.
Yeah, for folks who are like, well, the studios have to cut costs somewhere. Listen, listen, Linda. That damn disc does not cost as much as y'all want to make us think it does.
No, it doesn't. It
And
doesn't.
you cannot tell me that if I spend $230 on, what was it, 17 inches of Venom, 13 inches of Venom, 18 inches, whatever the fuck that thing was,
Yeah.
you're not going to sit there and tell me that y'all didn't get that thing made somewhere in Taiwan for $3.27, and you trying to tell me that you can't afford to put the damn game in there, in the disc. Like, come on. You come on. Like, I don't believe it. I don't. When a company says no, we can't do that because it hurts our profit margins, when it comes to things like that, I have to look at them and go, all right, wait a second. Like, it's so, I've talked about it before, but I play Magic the Gathering, and Wizards is the Mark Rosewater. He'll get on there and from Wizards of the Coast, and he'll say, he goes, guys, I understand that you want us to print more of these cards into these sets, but I mean, if we do that, it costs us so much money to print these cards and dude, the most expensive part of a Magic the Gathering card is its artwork. And they pay a flat fee to every artist who does artwork for their products. So like you'll have a set that comes out that it costs them 3 cents to print all the cards in a Magic pack. It's 15 cards. They sell it to the stores for $2 or to the distributor for like 2.50. They just made money hand over fist because they sell millions of them.
Yeah.
But you look, and then they want to sit there and say, no, it damages the. Shut up. Like, it's not like we're asking you to give us two statues with everything. It's not like we're asking you to give us two of Thor's hammer. It's not like we're doing that. We're sitting there going, hey, you know that thing that y'all been making for years that is relatively inexpensive to make now? You know that thing? Yeah, that disc thing? Yeah, we want that. Y'all have the technology, y'all perfected the process, we want it. But the problem is they don't give a shit. Because they're like, no, but that's $3 more to the bottom line, and if we sell 200,000 more units times $3, that's 300,000 more units, and that's what we need. And I'm sorry, woo, that's bad math. That's 600,000 more dollars, and that's what we need. We need those $600,000 because we're a greedy fucking company. Like,
Let me cut in real
sorry,
quick,
I'm a little
Thrifty.
pissy
Well,
right now when
no,
it
no,
comes
you're
to like
good,
that
and
shit.
you brought up a great point because do you really think that Shift Up is gonna bitch from selling a million physical copies versus a million digital?
If you
No.
think they're only selling a million, I think you're fucking
Well,
ridiculous.
I'm just using that as an example, right? But and another thing, just to answer two questions. One, Outsider Gaming Night says hopefully Shift Up allows you to buy the DLC. Why wouldn't they?
Some games don't allow
Like,
that.
they're what games?
So, like, I know that.
If there's a pre-order, a pre-order bonus thing that you can only get by pre-ordering the game, yes, you cannot buy that.
So, a good example.
Sometimes.
A good example was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay, and also what you're talking about is the stuff that I'm referring to. It's the pre-order bonus uh, from the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition or whatever the fuck it is. But
Yeah, but you can get that like the Star Wars, the new one that's coming out. You pre-order, you get 3 days early. Guess what? You get that with physical too. Pre-order bonuses
sure,
usually are attached to physical as
but
well.
like
Now,
I bought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth digitally. Okay, I didn't buy it physically, but and I didn't get the deluxe edition. But the first day it came out, I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy the upgrade for the deluxe edition because every game, right? Every game does that, or damn near every game, or every game should do that. Like, hey, you know what? I pre-ordered it back then, didn't think I wanted to spend the extra, super hyped about this game, I want to spend the extra. And so, like, I looked at it and I was like, man, I'm gonna get it. I went on there and it was nowhere to be found. It didn't show up for me to be able to purchase, which I decided not to, but it didn't show up for me to purchase until 3 days after the game had already been out.
So so it did come out eventually, is what you're saying?
It came out a few days afterwards, but still,
Okay.
I don't
So
like that I don't even like that that's a fucking possibility. Like I want to go back to tech, and
I
this
agree.
is I'm an old ass gamer, okay? And I know I'm gonna sound like an old man who yells at clouds, but listen, I want to go back to where you play Tekken 3 and you beat the game with Jax, or not Jax, sorry. Let's say you beat the game with Eddie. You get the little movie and you unlock a character. You go and you beat the game again with Who Wrong. You go to the end, you beat it, you watch his story movie, then you unlock a new character. Then you go and you keep doing that with everybody until you've unlocked like 12 new characters. And then you can beat the game with them and unlock usually 1 to 2 more characters. I didn't pay a dime for anything. You could earn costumes in it. If you knew which button selected an alternate costume, you could turn Eddie into Tiger. Like, you could turn Who Wrong from blue or I'm sorry, from white and blue to like gray and blue. No, no, no. He had his biker uniform. Like any way you slice it, though, you were able to have the entire game. Now, I understand. I don't even have. I'm not even looking at the chat right now, but I understand that there's somebody in the chat. I would have to assume that is sitting there saying, yes, but games cost a whole lot more to make now. I get that. And I understand that looking at the market the way it is, that games are costing us less as a consumer than they did back when I was a kid. That is a proven fact. We can pull up ads, we can look at all the old ads for the Super Nintendo games, and we can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that $70 plus or minus $10 has been the going rate for video games since 1995. Like, and so that stayed the same, but these companies are not making as much profit per game.
No.
And now, Will, I know your stance on this. You're because you've said it before, and you do kind of balance between two different stances. But the one that I always remember of yours is that serves these fucking companies right because look at how many years they were overcharging us, knowing damn good and well they didn't have to charge $80 for Donkey Kong Country,
Yeah,
but they did because they could. And now that it's coming back to bite them in the ass, now it's
they're
a major
freaking out.
problem.
Yep.
Like, and
Hey,
so
you got good memory.
I know that that's your stance, but like
Absolutely.
at the same time, like you, I'm in business, you're in business. If the cost of goods goes up and the cost to transport those goods goes up, then guess what? The cost to the client has to go up.
Yes. And
Gaming is
let
one of
me
the areas that hasn't happened.
let me finish up on the last point that I was making. I'll start what you were saying. Yes, you're absolutely right. Cost of goods goes up, all that goes up. But the issue that I'm having is that if this was a normal thing where they were giving us that item that we like and that we expect, then it would be way easier to comply and raise the price or whatever and pay what they're asking. But the fact that they're giving us the shit that we don't want and then calling us crazy for asking it, it's just more compounding interest to the whole overall problem. But before we continue with this, I just want to finish up on my last thing with the DLC. Now, was 30 said with Final Fantasy VII, yes, that does happen occasionally. As time goes on, it happens less and less and less. Back when FF7 Rebirth came out, there was a much bigger digital push because that was kind of not the beginning, but the transitioning of physical and digital was really coming in on its own during that time. But I want to say the last thing I want to say in regards to that is I was reading oh man, I don't want to chimp thoughts. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate you, and I don't want to pick on you or nothing, but I just want to use what you said as an example because I've heard it a few times this week. You said I haven't bought a physical game in years. I'm too lazy to switch games, and I don't have space to store them. Now,
Mm.
once again, I don't want to pick on you at all. It's just I've heard the same thing a couple times this week, so I want to talk about that for 30 seconds or so. Right underneath that, Hero says the reason publishers don't want to do this is because they will, with digital, they gain full control of our usage and all our personal data. That is another big reason. But you have to think, chimp thoughts, for people that think like you, and I thought that was a very good reason for a long time. But at the same time, we in America, for those of you guys that don't live here, they people have asked me why are Americans so patriotic, right? Why are we so like
For
the way that we
democracy.
are? Democracy, right? And I say because the freedom that we have in this country has been very hard, very hard earned. We've had to pay a big price. And going to a Ronald Reagan speech from the 80s, he said Americans know the cost of freedom, and as much as we want to do peace first, we have no problem with paying that price. We rather be free and die free than to be on our knees as a slave. So what I'm trying to say in regards to gaming is the
Yeah.
little
What
bit
are
of
you trying to
power that we
say?
have with, because look, I'm a physical buyer, so I am used to now paying more for physical. I am used to getting physical
I
later.
mean, dude,
So
all
for
prices have to
example,
go up eventually. Pause.
yeah,
Sorry.
they do, but the game that came today, House Builder 2, that game came out today, but I won't get my
Jesus.
physical copy till the end of April, early May. So that's a penalty. Eternal Nights. I had to pay an extra $10 versus a digital price day one because it's a physical game. On limited run games, you will always pay extra money because it's
Because
physical
it's
and they have
physical.
to produce it. So right now, our power is our money and how we spend it. We're giving these corporations a little bit of power that we have left by buying a digital game. What do I mean by that? I just told Nelson this over the weekend while playing Helldivers 2. You say one politically incorrect thing on there, somebody reports you, or now with them listening into the game chats, and they say, you know what? We don't agree with what you're saying. We're going to block your account. You just lost everything. Everything is lost. All your digital games are lost forever. That account is lost forever. I've been watching on not Discord, whatever, one of these platforms where somebody bought a PS5 because their PS4 crashed and they didn't know the password and their email got hacked, so they couldn't get change of password. And Sony's like, well, there's nothing we can do. They lost out on thousands of dollars in games and they're still trying to figure it out. And issues like these keep happening more and more as time goes on. Now, yes, it's not so prevalent where there's a big uproar right now, but remember, what if it happens to you? Just you. Nobody's gonna come in and be like, "Oh yeah, that's it." That's where it's gonna end. With a physical game, you will always be able to play it. You will always be able to sell it. You will always be able to trade it. So just keep that in mind. The little bit of power that we have left, we're giving it to them freely by purchasing the digital games, and now we put them in control of our libraries.
Okay, sorry. I was having an issue with my headset. Um, that's the thing that worries me the most. It's not even the fact that it's an online only game. It's not even the fact that, like, because back in the day, I mean, I've played online only games, and one of the things that some of those studios have done is they've made it to where, you know what, whatever version of the game you have, that's the version you're going to always have, and as long as you purchase the game, that's the version that's going to be downloaded. No other version's ever going to be available, and it is what it is. Some have done that, and they take the game offline, but there was a single player offline component to it. Titanfall 2 is a great example. There was an online mode to it, and they took it offline. But there was a single player mode that you could still play. My problem is games that are always online. That's, funny enough, one reason why, with my free month of Game Pass, I have toyed around with the idea of playing Diablo 4. Because it means I gave them $0 and only one click of engagement. So trying to see if I play it that way, I don't plan on keeping the game. I don't plan on owning the game forever. I don't care if they shut the servers down. I just want to play through the story before they shut the servers down. So it's not that funny enough, it's not that I want to buy the game because I think it's an amazing game or anything like that. I want to play it before they shut it down. Because if they shut it down, then I never get the chance to. It's like with Marvel's Avengers. Like, they're not doing updates for it anymore, and I think the servers are still open, but you can't really do. I don't think you can do multiplayer or anything like that, but like, they have the power to go in and shut this shit down. And that's where I start going, okay, wait a second. I understand Babylon's Fall was absolute dog water, but the fact that somebody could have given you $70 for that game and you still shut it down and said, sorry, you can't access it anymore, that's a huge problem. Like, back in the day, if we got a shitty video game, guess what? It was just a shitty video game. It was just a bad game. And guess what?
Yeah.
Those games, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation 1 even, PlayStation 2, Xbox, we got some shit titles, guys. You want to talk about shovelware? You could go to Blockbuster or your local Videotan Express and go inside that bitch and look around, and you'd see, oh, hot game, hot game, hot game, hot game, and then all 17 other fucking shelves were shovelware. Like, what the hell is this?
But if you can answer one more question
Yeah,
here,
I don't give a shit.
Chimp Thoughts. That's a
Mm-hmm.
big misconception. He says, but most games now aren't even on disc. Now you have downloaded it when you boot it up, so you still kind of don't own the game still. We never own the games, LOL, that make you think you own it. That's a misconception. PlayStation still puts their games on the disc. There is no DRM on them. That's why Final Fantasy what's the new one? Rebirth
It came
is
with two
on
discs.
two discs because you can still, with no internet connection, put that disc in there. The download that you see is one, the system is reading the data off the disk to install it, and two, if there's any patch updates, any patches, any updates. So you put the disk in, there's automatically going to be a download because they end up patching the game after it's already been printed and copied. That is for PlayStation, and 95% of games or higher. I want to dare to say close to 99%, but I know there's a few out there, so I don't want to give you an exact number. But very high 90s that 90 plus percent of games are on the disc itself. The people that don't do it like that is mainly Microsoft. They're the ones who
Well,
put
Microsoft
a ton
and
of
PC, which
NPC.
they're the same
Yes,
damn thing, but still, you know what I mean. Like, when I
yes.
say Microsoft, I'm thinking Xbox. When I say PC, I'm thinking, Lord Jesus, help me get me back to my console as fast as I can.
Yeah, Nelson, I just said Final Fantasy Rebirth. Yes, because it's 100 and something gigs, but most games aren't that big. You can fit up to, I think it's like 100 and I want to say 110, 120 gigs on a disc. That's one of the biggest thing with Call of Duty.
Yeah,
They
that game
don't
is
do
thick.
the game on the physical because Warzone eats up 200 out of 230 gigs, and they're not going to put that on the disc. But the game itself, the campaign, it's only like 20, 30 gigs. But they just won't let you download that. They'll let you just download Warzone and co-op, and you can delete the campaign, but they will never have it anymore to where you can just download the campaign only. Hell no. But that's why I said 90 plus percent of games have the game on the disc itself. Where you get to disc is when they're over 100 and whatever, gigs that the disc doesn't hold. And then the discussion comes in is, do we want to go for another disc and put the game on the disc itself? Now,
Okay,
if they
so
choose not to, you need DRM.
so here's the deal. Let's talk about the PlayStation world because that's the world I live in. Okay, So yeah, Xbox, fuck them. PC, fuck them. Let's talk about the PlayStation world and the Nintendo world because those are the two consoles I own at my home. So here is one thing you can do on the PlayStation that solves a lot of these problems, and it's preserving your own digital library. What I mean by that, I have a 4 terabyte hard drive. Okay, now a hard drive will not run your PS5 games. It will, however, store those bastards for however long you want. You just can't run them. When you're ready to use them, you have to transfer the file from the hard drive back to the PS5. So, here's what you can do. This is going to be a tip from Thrifty. Not even planned, I just pulled that out of my rear end. But here's what you're going to do. Plug in the external hard drive to your PS5. Not in the front, in the back. Pause. Once it's in there, you are going to transfer the newest data or the newest game file that you have for, say, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It's a game that is online as soon as you start it up, all that. So, let's say they shut down the servers and say, hey, we're not going to support the game anymore, blah, 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 there's no more updates coming for it, but you'll still be able to access it. Okay? Because I do believe that you can play Dragon Ball Z, or, you know what, let's say Final Fantasy. Let's say they say, hey, listen, we're done. We're not going to send out any more updates. And if you don't stay connected to the internet or keep it downloaded, if you go in to reload the game, you won't have access to the latest update. What this does is it gives you the most current version of the game in a hard format. Does that make sense? Sorry guys, there's some stuff coming through from an ad on the damn website. Hang on. Good lord. You can't go anywhere without a freaking ad somewhere. Sorry if y'all heard that. But you can preserve your games that way. I believe. Let me look at chat to see if I'm wrong.
No, you can. You're absolutely right.
Okay, cool.
Whatever games you have downloaded in the system, then it's there. You can always play it without the internet. So what some people do, some of the real paranoid people, is they'll download their whole library on external hard drives and just store them. Or if they want to preserve a game where they like it how that's why I'm saying with Stellar Blade, I really want to get that physical because I got a feeling that maybe in the future PlayStation will be like, you know what, this is a little bit much less censor some of the art style. Well, I have the physical copy, so I can delete that game, take it off the internet, install the game off the disc, and get exactly how the developers intended the game.
Yeah, that's kind of that's something that I've been thinking about a little bit because it's been this thing where like, oh, well, if they don't let us have it, if they don't this, if they don't that, well, that's not exactly true. Because if I download a game digitally, I can take that file and put it on to an external SSD, or I can put it on to an external hard drive. I have the ability to do that because that file at that point is mine. I'm allowed to use it. It's mine. I paid for it. As long as I'm not selling it, I can make as many mother-loving copies of that thing as I want. If you were here for our emulator and ROM episode, you would know that it's totally fine to have backups of all digital and physical media that you own. And so that is the letter of the law, and you can do it as many times as you want as long as you're not selling them or trying to make a profit off of them somehow. So I think what I'm about to actually start doing is going through and downloading all of my old PS4 titles. Oh, I will note that this only works with games that you have actually purchased. You cannot take a PS Plus title, drag and drop, and then upload it on, let's say, a system that's not connected to the internet, because it's going to have to validate there's DRM. There's a different coding in there, which is why when Final Fantasy VII Remake went to PlayStation Plus, it was a clusterfuck. Because it was some people who bought the game couldn't access the game anymore, and some people who had bought the game but didn't buy Intergrade could get Intergrade but couldn't get into the base game. It was real weird, like all the bullshit that happened around that time. But guys,
And,
it really is just the thing that.
and
Go ahead.
Clifton, you talked about it
Here,
last
I
week,
have a
right?
song
With
for you.
Nintendo,
I have a
with
song for
um,
you
with
once it loads. Go ahead.
with Nintendo, how Nintendo, if you had like a PC or emulator, once you stick in the game, like it reads the license and you can play it anywhere, something like that. But the reason I'm asking is because Nintendo is the other company with their cartridges that the game is on the cartridge itself. And with cartridges, one of the things in the PS1 era, Nintendo 64 era, you can hold a lot of data in the disc. And that's why a lot of the console makers and publishers and developers all went to the disc, was because you can store so much more than a cartridge. And, like nowadays, for like Final Fantasy Rebirth, you would need like hundreds of cartridges to fit all that data on there. But it's not just gaming in general that has DRM issues. No, it's Xbox and PC. Nintendo PlayStation still has the game on the disc/cartridge. How long would that go for? I don't know.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I wanted to offer that as a solution because I feel like we bitch about it a lot, but we don't ever usually give like solutions, and I like solutions, and so I felt like that was a uh, very pointed thing that I wanted to say with regards to that. Just guys, there's always ways to save your data, to save your purchases. Especially in digital media, like or in especially in entertainment media. There's always a way that you can do it. But speaking of saving your games, speaking of saving your digital and physical media that you purchase, speaking of saving your ass, if you are a game developer, and Will, this is the topic that you wanted, sir. If you are a game developer and you make a game and it does really really well on say last generation's console. It's not a huge smash hit, not just the most amazing thing ever, but it gets a really good cult following. Uh, and then the new mid-gen refreshes come out, and you do an upgrade, and my God, one of the consoles gets 120 frames per second. The other one, that bastard gets 60 frames per second, both at 1440p output. Both look absolutely stunning. And then you get acquired by the biggest company in North America. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm being stupid. But you get acquired by the biggest company in North America, known as Microsoft, and you get greenlit to, hey, I want you to make Hellblade 2. I want you to make Hellblade 2. And and then after that you're like, "Oh shit, we get this. We're going to be able to do it on the Series X and the Series S, and it's going to be amazing. Think about how good we made it on the Series on the One X. Think about it. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to be able to do all this stuff. We're going to be able to make it massively gorgeous and audio this and mocap that, and oh my gosh, it looks fantastic." But you got to design for the Series S also. And then like you hear the glass shatter in their brain, and like the beautiful picture of this game that they created in their head is now gone and thrown out the window because they had to design for the booster box. You have the biggest shills in the world for Microsoft actually giving them some shade on Digital Foundry. I don't know. Um, Here it is. New state of art Unreal. Here, let me do this. So Digital Foundry sees it. Digital Foundry says, meh, eh, it looks good, looks great, but eh, not that, not that kind of thing. Okay, cool. You have people on X going, man, this looks like a tech demo. I'm super not excited for this game. I hope I'm wrong. You have other folks sitting there going, man, it's going to be a banger, but those guys are Xbox guys and they don't know what a banger is. So that's like asking somebody to give me a value or a price on a laptop who has no fucking idea what a laptop is. Like, it doesn't work. I always told folks all the time when I used to work at the dealership, they'd come in and go, "Man, my car's worth $20,000. That's what Kelly Blue Book said." I would tell them to go find the button on Kelly Blue Book where they buy vehicles. Because guess what? Back in the day, they didn't. And so you could, I could look at you today and say, "Hey, that's worth $55," and you could go, "Sure." Like, I could pull a number out of my ass too. And so you're these people, you're making this game, you're doing all this stuff, you're trying to build, and you're super excited to build for the Series X. It eats monsters for breakfast, and now you are stuck at 30 frames per second. And dear God, give me a minute to tell you the best part. Because they said, and I damn near quote, "We put it at 30 frames per second because it is a cinematic masterpiece and it supports our creative direction." Boom. Period. But wait, there's more, because the next line down, if you read it, it says, "For those who want a higher frame rate, you may play it on PC." so,
Yep. So how stuck to their vision are they? If they really were on their vision, they would 30 on PC as well.
it's a fucking creative decision that supports our creative direction. But if you want to play it at 60, you can play it on PC.
Yep.
so, oh, and then I think it was old news, but the way it was presented was like it was brand new news. The co-founder left.
Yep.
like,
Wait, first he partied,
at
spent the
first he
money.
partied. Like,
And look, I don't blame him. I'll be the same. I'd be on yachts with boats and hoes, just like he was, man.
Bro.
I would have. I don't blame him at all.
we see Will on Wall Street.
Sheesh. And look, just the hypocrisy of it all, right? Because but Digital Foundry has been caught, right? They've been caught
Bruh.
red-handed recently with their bought and sold, profession that they do. But another one today, as I do watch my weekly news thing, what's his name? Skillup, which I really like his channel. I think he's funny. Blah blah. At the beginning, he talks about Hellblade, and he says along the lines of, "Guys, just because the game's at 30, I really wouldn't, I wouldn't let that hinder you from experiencing this game," which I agree 100%. Don't let the game, just because it's 30 on any game, say, "You know what, I'm not going to play it." Check it out. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, whatever. If you don't want to deal with it, okay, don't. That's fine. Do you. Now
Well,
fast
and
forward to
here's
the
the deal,
end.
though. If she's moving super slow, and it's a super, like, oh, what's the... So picture her moving like Cloud does in Final Fantasy VII Remake through every corridor. If the entire game is set up with that type of pacing, 30 frames per second isn't going to matter. And that's
No.
coming from a guy who's a fucking snob at 30 frames per second. But when the character moves at a snail's pace, it doesn't matter. But go ahead. Sorry.
And then towards at the very end of the video, which I appreciate Skillup for doing, is he does his sponsored section of the video. And guys, not even bullshitting you, the first thing he says, and I listened to it multiple times to make sure that I understood what he was saying. He said his sponsor was Nvidia, I think it was.
Okay.
And he says, "If you're like me, who can't stand games at under 60 frames per second, this is the way to play it." And the reason I replayed is because I wasn't sure if he said, "If you're like me who likes gaming on PC at over 60 frames per second." No, he said, "If you're like me and can't stand playing games under 60 frames per second, and video will get you there." And he goes with his spiel, right? And then he says, "And when I play first-person shooters, I like it to be at 120. And I'm like, wait a minute. In the beginning of the video, didn't it say that, "Hey guys, 30 frames, play it, whatever"? And now when you're getting paid, it's no way, nothing under 60, because Nvidia gives me that power. And look, do what you do. You got to pay the bills. But this is what we're talking about in the beginning of the podcast tonight, right? Where we are one of the highest earning entertainment money in the world. And we cannot get true journalism. We cannot get Digital Foundry to come out here and say, and look, these guys know, they know what they're talking about. These guys are pros. But why is it that when it comes to something like Hellblade or Xbox, it's always one thing. But when it's PlayStation and it's like, well, yeah, the 40 out of the four options that you got, when you pick the 40, 14, 40, they could have done better. Like, come on, be real here, man. Like, PlayStation's giving you the option. Look, if you want to play Rebirth as an example, where you get the 60 and it looks like a smudge on your screen because they took all the fidelity out to get it to that frame. If you want to play that way, do you. But at least give us the option. Xbox, the gaming industry, developers and publishers, and it happened with Todd Howard too with Bethesda and Starfield, right? Well, maybe you just need to upgrade your PC. Remember that? Oh, maybe
Yeah.
your shit's outdated.
Maybe
No,
your stuff sucks.
dude, I'm telling you, they hate us. They hate the gamer, and the fact that we're holding their feet on the fire and calling them out with their bullshit, it's working because now it's in the conversation. I mean, this dude with Helldivers during that interview, he could have avoided the question. He didn't have to answer it. He could have gave us a typical PR answer, but no, he decided to answer it because he knows that the expectation is there that we want 60, at least the option of having it. And he didn't do that. He told us straight up, yeah, this is a 30 because of a bullshit reason. Because it is a bullshit reason. Let's be honest here. Because if you really want to do, cinematic, you would have done it at 22 frames per second. But he didn't do that, right? You stuck at 30 because the capabilities of what you're able to do on the console that you're doing it for is limiting you. Maybe the time frame that you're supposed to do it at, with the manpower you're supposed to do it at, is all holding you back, which it shouldn't because you just got a big ass check from Microsoft, right? But who do we blame for this?
Yeah, but
We
how?
blame.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Thrifty.
Who do we blame? No, no, no. Who do we blame?
We blame Phil. He's the boss. He's in charge. That's simple.
I don't know if he is. I don't know if he is.
You know what I mean.
I don't
In
know if he is.
ceremony, Bill reminds me like when I was in the military, came around once a year just to say hi. He don't know shit. He's just there because they made him.
Yeah. I don't think he knows his ass from his hole in the ground right now. I really don't. He's but so I found the article because tonight this wasn't on the menu, but we did get through some of the other topics kind of quick, and so I wanted to cover it because it's fucking hilarious, and I missed it because it came out Thursday last week, and Wednesday is my show. So so the biggest thing that bothers me is not that they chose to go with 30 frames per second. It's not that they chose to make it more cinematic. It's the fact that people are looking at this and saying, "Oh, it's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful. It's blah 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 this. It's blah 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 that." And I'm going to tell you if a if the predecessor, if the preceding game comes out at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, if the previous generation consoles could do that, and your current gen console cannot, that's where I have a huge problem. Because we've all talked about it, we all know that when you're building for something, you have to build down to the lowest common denominator if you need parity between the two systems. And so because of that, you're having to build the Series S version and then try to upscale or uprender or whatever the fuck it is in the game development world to get it to that 60 frames per second on the Series X. That's why PlayStation went with the 2 SKU design as well, but just decided to drop a disk drive. Everything else, all internals were the same, because they knew that it would cause a nightmare for their developers. And so they're like, yeah, y'all take too much damn time trying to do it for one system. How the hell are we going to ask y'all to do it for two? You know what? We're not. We're going to go ahead and just drop the disk drive. Everything else is the same. Devs were like, wait, everything else is the same? Yeah, everything else is the same. And the devs went, hell yes, great. Here is a full slate of games. Have fun. Xbox is going, wait, I have to do what? I don't want to do that. No. What do you mean it's going to be 30 frames per second? Yeah, I'm fucking out. What do you mean you're out? I mean I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore for y'all. This is ridiculous. I don't want to be here. Well, I mean, it's for cinematic reasons. And here's what it says. I'm actually going to read this real quick because here's what it says. Let me pull this back up. It says, speaking to German publication GamePro, Hellblade 2 visual effects director Mark Slater Tunstall confirmed that the game will run at 30 FPS alongside dynamic scaling on Xbox Series X and S. As reported by WCCF Tech, Slater Tunstall told GamePro that 30 FPS makes sense with the game's more cinematic nature. They've edited that a little bit. However, if you're after higher frames, a beefier PC can likely accomplish that. So, how did it work? How did it work on the previous gen? And now you supposedly have more power, even in the Series Booster. You supposedly have more power than the One X, and you still can't do it. Like, what's fucking broken over there? What's broken? Like Indiana Jones, it's gonna be locked 30. It's gonna be locked 30. Like you just know. But like, what's broken? Will, what the
And
fuck? What the fuck?
it
What's broken?
well, something is broken, absolutely, and it's more than just people that are broken, right? Like Phil not doing his job, Bowie not doing his job properly, but something is broken because
It's that fan base
Pentiment.
is broken.
Oh yeah, but Pentiment came over at 60, and I think a 120 is available. Somebody correct me on that, but we know that 60 is available for sure, and I'm like 60% sure 120 is also available on Pentiment. How is it that when these games come over to PlayStation, they're able to not only get the frames up, but they're also get to do dual sense, features too? And look, maybe I misread it. Maybe when I was listening to them, I maybe, I don't think I did because I'm a pretty good, I read vibes pretty good. I read people pretty good, body language and stuff, and inflections in the voice and tone. But when Rare was talking about how excited they were about bringing Sea of Thieves over to PlayStation, when they said they were excited, that sounded like a genuine excitement. Whenever any of these people are talking about the games that are coming out on Xbox, they never had the same excitement. So, what is it about the PlayStation that gives them that excitement? Is it maybe because as a developer, or let's just use the example as a painter, you are now getting the brush that you've always wanted to paint the paintings that you wanted to do. When you're at Microsoft, you feel like you get secondhand shit, and they try to feed you the bullshit that no, this is secondhand, but it was top of the line when it first came out. No, it's still secondhand bullshit where the brush is all knotted up and twisted up and dirty, and that's what Xbox is going through. They focus so much on the hardware that for a split second they forgot how the software is gonna run on there. Or is it that maybe they figured, oh, a console is just like a PC, where all PCs are the same? No, they're not.
Mm,
So I really don't understand where they dropped the ball. You figured that a trillionaire would have a better understanding on the business that they're currently in works.
well, and so here's what's really funny. We have somebody on X because the best place to go for, um,
Thrifty 120. 120. Josh
yeah, I
confirmed.
hear that. 120. I know. Okay, so hey Michael, I want you to explain that. Why do you think there's a bottleneck on the X? I could understand a bottleneck on the S, but yeah, in the chat, if you can explain that a little bit, because I asked you to clarify, and you clarified that you actually did mean the X. So help me out on there. But you go to X not really for accurate news reporting. You really go to X for uh, reading between the lines. So here we go. Watch this. Here, let me make this a little bit bigger so y'all can actually see the damn thing. Here we go. Let me see if I can't. Oh, I have it locked. Hang on. Let me see if I can't do this. Hang on. See, this is something Jez showed me. Watch this shit. Oh no, it doesn't work. Ah, damn. Hang on. F it. We're to keep it. Okay, so this is from Nix FXR. I have no idea who the hell that is. Look, all I did was type up here in the search bar where it says Hellblade 230, and I got tons of cool shit. So he says, I played Hellblade again at 30 FPS on the Series X enhanced visual mode for a little bit. I didn't expect it to feel so smooth. The pace of the game is what matters. Now listen to what he says next. As long as it isn't an FPS or a fast action game, 30 FPS is totally perfect for Hellblade 2. So basically, this is on the surface damage control. On the not like going a little deeper, I almost said on the not surface. Going a little deeper into this, pause. Uh, this game is about to be what Xbox fans say they hate with a passion. This is going to be a over-the-shoulder, story-driven walking simulator
At 30 frames per second.
at 30 frames per second. It's everything that they hate about gaming that they've bitched about for years upon years upon years upon years. And it's the game that they have right now to champion because they have nothing else. Oh, don't
Mhm.
worry though. If you want this to run at 60, you can get a beefier PC. Guess what? You can get one for $1,074 after tax and shipping. It's
Look,
at
I can't
Best
believe you're
Buy.
disrespecting what they're calling game of the generation. Come on, man.
Game of the
Come on.
generation. It's not going to be
I-
game of the fucking month. What are you
In my
talking
in my
about?
Joe Biden voice.
Ow,
Come
shit.
on, man.
Come on, man. Give me some chocolate ice cream.
Come
Come
on,
on,
man. Game of
man.
the generation. But that's their MO, bro. They game's the game of the generation till it comes out, and then
Oh,
it's the
Thrifty,
game
we
of the
gave you
fucking
the answer.
shitter.
Hang on, sorry, hang on.
What you mess up?
Oh, he joined the lobby on Discord. Shit. Jez, are you coming in here again? Hang on. Why is this not working? What is happening here? Hang on. Okay. Sorry, I had too many screens open at the same damn time. It's about damn time in a minute. No, sorry,
What if you over
TikTok.
here can't chew and walk gum at the same time?
Bro, I just got this damn thing yesterday. Jez sent me on a crash course last night for 2.5 hours, and I had a
You're doing
buddy.
better than me.
Bro, I
I
had a
told you
buddy
to
come over
drag and
here.
drop.
You told me to drag and drop. Funny enough, that does work on certain things on here. Okay,
Oh, really?
X
Oh,
is for comedy. Okay, hang on. They said they answered my question. Let me go up and see. What do you mean? Okay, people were saying the S is holding back the X doing 60 frames per second, but look at the res. No, I mean the X users, the split second lasted many years. The split RAM, from what I understand, it has split memory, both the S. Oh! Oh. I did not know that. Okay, yeah, that's going to cause a bottleneck all day. Like, which is why when people are looking at the PS5 Pro, here, let me take this bullshit off the screen. Don't want to give these idiots any kind of advertising. When you look at like CPUs and GPUs, this is just stuff that I've had to like fuck with over a little bit. Like, you do start to realize that, oh, hey, if I have a comparable CPU but I have a GPU that's going to move at lightning speeds, I can actually, with the way my computer's set up, like Jez showed me that I can actually make um, Streamlabs run off of my GPU. That way it doesn't tax my CPU, and my CPU is able to do stuff in the background processing all this data real quick. It's why I'm able on this AMD graphics card to have it run Streamlabs as a dedicated card and then have my CPU do the thing it's supposed to. With all my Internet Explorer, my background, my all the music, the audio, all of that, it can take care of that, and it never gets above about 4% usage on the CPU. The GPU, on the other hand, jumps up by 25% usage when I'm running Streamlabs, and it's because I have it all running through my GPU. Now, what this also affords me is the ability to get 1440p at 145 frames a second or some bullshit. Like, but it's because I'm running everything on here through my GPU, allowing my CPU to process all the background noise. That is what the PS5 does. Its games, usually the ones from PlayStation, run GPU bound. They're not CPU bound, which leaves the CPU in the background able to do all the background shit. It's able to handle so much information because most of their games are GPU bound. God bless, I hate that I know this. Will, I need you to fly down here, and when I start talking PC shit, you just kick me in the nuts, okay? Like, I
dude,
just.
I'm learning.
I need that. So
Talking like a nerd, Thrifty.
that's why when Cerny, or well, sorry, not Cerny, but when PlayStation comes out and say, "Hey, we beefed up the GPU side of this, we gave it way more power, and we also are going to overclock the CPU," I'm sitting here going, yeah, yeah, you are, because now I understand what they're doing. I understand why. They're trying to beef up the GPU to continue to lighten the load on the CPU so the CPU can handle their anti-aliasing software, their audio mixing, all of the stuff that they've been adding with all these updates lately over the past like 12 months with the audio mixer, the party chat system that's been redone, all the user interface quality of life improvements they're doing. Like all of those things take up CPU bandwidth. That way, the game can run based off of the GPU. And we see when games come out like Jedi Survivor that are CPU bound that struggles. But it doesn't just struggle on console, it struggles everywhere. And so, like, if you have it to where it's not a split memory, you don't have that fucking option. If I'm correct, let me look at the chat real quick to see if any PC guys are in here who are going to correct me. Because, dear God, somebody said at one point this guy can't admit when he's wrong. I will gladly roll over and play dead on this topic. Let me see. Twisted Sin said it's a walking simulator. Enjoy bots. Twisted Sin said nerd. Somebody said I'm technically challenged. I learned PCs back in the day. And Twisted Sin said he built his first PC when he was 6 years old. So if Twisted
But he
Sin
wasn't his
hasn't
dad's
said
ball sack. Jeez,
if Twisted Sin
that's
hasn't said
young.
anything against it, then I guess I'm saying everything correctly so far.
Yeah, well,
But
he's a G, bro. He knows.
that's how I that's why when folks are like, "Oh man, it's not going to do that good. It's not that big of a performance." Digital Foundry, it's not that big of a performance upgrade. I don't think it's going to do a lot, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, please wait and see, because Cerny has been talking to these devs, going, "Hey, what do y'all need? We need to be able to process more shit at once. Don't you want better, like, graphics and all that? No, no, no. Y'all's graphics are fine. All that's fine. We need to move more information quickly. We want better anti-aliasing, so we need more information to be moved." And so Sony's like, "Hey, Cerny, can you do that?" And Cerny goes, "Can I do that? Let me unbutton my 3 buttons and go to the lab." He unbuttons his 3 buttons, takes the PlayStation controller, goes into the lab, and he comes out with the PS6 or the PS5 Pro model and goes, "Hey guys, listen, I know this is going to sound weird, but I only increased the CPU 10%, but the GPU, I increased that bastard by 40%. "Oh, really? What's that going to do?" And he explains everything I already said. And the devs are like, "Wait, so I can process more information faster?" "Yes." "You gave us our own anti-aliasing?" "Yes, I called it Pisser just for the hell of it."
Taking a piss on the competition.
Like, Sony's sitting here going with a list of fucking acronyms going, "Okay, what can I call this? What can I call this?" Oh, shit. PlayStation Super Sampling Rendering. Yes. Perfect.
But you know why
Ship it.
Cerny? And I'm just guessing, right, based on experience.
Right,
But
I'm
you know why
guessing too. I
Cerny's
was not there when these conversations took place.
no, but something that Cerny does, or PlayStation does for Cerny, is they give him the freedom. They give him the freedom to figure out how to do things, and he himself, because he has that freedom, he's able to do think outside the box a little bit and do things that are beneficial for us all. But when you have a company or just anything in life that you are so stressed out to perform, that's when you're going to perform the least, right? Especially for long periods of time. So I mean, this dude, like I said a few months ago, he's the only person that I will put on that presentation he did for the PS5 and talking about the internals and GP, all that crap. And I put that, and I listen to it and I watch it at least once a year because it's so fascinating how his brain works and how the dude knows gaming. He knows gaming. And he came to PlayStation. He wanted to work for PlayStation. He had great ideas, and PlayStation is implementing what he wants to do. And the developers are in there saying, "We like this, we don't." And they're all taking the constructive criticism to make the product better, which I wish the industry as a whole would do that. Listen to the gamers on how to make your product better because we're the ones that are buying it.
Okay, hang on, hang on. Hero Down Under said Cerny does for PlayStation what Apple does with underpowered MacBooks. I agree. I cannot tell you how many folks who I told, "Hey, I'm finally getting a PC for my channel," and they were like, "Dude, why didn't you get a Mac?" No, I don't want one. They're like, "But it's great for video editing and music editing and all that." I said, "You like, you did hear that I want it for streaming, right? The Mac is not good for streaming, not in any stretch of the imagination, because it doesn't really do well. It can't process everything." And because it's Microsoft, Windows 11 looks just like a fucking MacBook.
Yeah, bro, they steal everything.
Like, no, I'm so dead serious. I started up the computer, got all the setup bullshit done, and it got to the landing screen. And I was like, um, why are all of my icons in the middle of the screen and not on the bottom left like they're supposed to be? Why is everything in weird spots? Why doesn't this make sense? Why does everything look like it's made for a 5-year-old now? Like, and so I'm sitting here looking at this, going into this from two systems that I knew very well. I'm going to date myself a little bit, but two systems that I knew very well were Windows 98 and Windows XP. Both of those systems, especially XP, were user friendly enough where you could navigate around if you didn't know a lot, but they were also open enough to where you could actually go in there and like screw around with shit and like learn. And so like you could gain some technical know-how from it. The problem is you take any of that technical know-how from all the previous builds of Windows and try to put it into Windows 11, and they've dumbed it down so much that you're like, what the fuck do I do? I had to have a buddy of mine come over so I could figure out how to adjust the brightness and saturation and stuff on the monitor. Because I was like, dude, it's not in my settings. It's not under display. It's not in the display tab. I can't change my themes. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Back in the day, you used to right click, uh, se- desktop settings, and it would pull up like wallpaper, themes, all of that. And you can't do that now. And I'm like, man, you said it's for casuals, Twisted. That's fucking hilarious. It is for casuals. Dude, Richard Ledbetter on the PS5 didn't age well. No, it didn't, Michael. It did not. Lucky Thrifty didn't have to deal with Linux OS. No, I have never worked on a Linux product. Thank God. Actually, that's not true. I worked at a dealership one time as a service advisor, and they ran. Oh crap! I can't remember the name of it, but they ran a certain software that ran through Linux and not through uh, Windows. And oh my God, we called it the blue screen because it was ugly. It was so bad. But anyways, so my biggest thing though with this is it feels like the Series S on
X.
both on some level are worse than the last gen consoles from Xbox. And I think that's a problem we're seeing going forward. Doc Dark did a really good video where he's one of the very few Xbox guys, which I wouldn't classify him as an Xbox guy anymore. He was one of the few Xbox guys who would actually like have a take that was against the grain of the hive mind. And then occasionally he would have like a 2-3 week period where he's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm back in, and this is gonna be great." But Windows 11 for Dummies First Edition, bro, it's so bad. It's so bad, Outsider Gaming Night. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, um, he was saying how he had his Xbox Series X, his Xbox Series X Slim, which was his laptop, and then he has he has the computer just like mine. Like mine, I bought a little after him, so mine has a little bit better of a processor of of a CPU, but outside of that, they're the same dang computer. And he calls it his Series X Pro. So, but he's like, and he has it hooked in, hard lined into his TV. And he's like, so when I want to play a game, unless it's not available on PC Game Pass, I play it on my PC. And It's it's that right there. You are literally pushing people to the other consoles. You're pushing them to game on other devices, on other portions that may have an arm or a foot inside your ecosystem, but they are not the center of your ecosystem. And so, yeah, you're reaching them, but think about when somebody plays on PC. You're not just playing Game Pass. You're playing Game Pass, Steam, Epic Game Store. You're playing iWish.io or whatever the hell that is. Hell, you're playing games on Facebook on your fucking computer. There's so much more competition inside the PC sector than there is when I turn on my PlayStation and I go, ooh, this is what PlayStation has for me. Great. And so they sit here and they deal with this not by, saying, "Hey guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and we're going to make it great on the Xbox. We're going to focus on the PC later. We still want to put our games there if possible, but for now we have to focus on the Xbox. We have to give y'all quality titles." And, I've said it before, if they did that, they would see a trajectory that raises upward. But what if their leadership isn't the problem? Hear me out. Hear me out. Everybody's about to leave the stream now that I said Phil Spencer's not the problem. What if Phil Spencer and the rest of the Microsoft team were sold a bill of goods by whatever dipshit designed the Series X and S, and the console on paper looks amazing, but in practice doesn't actually function properly?
It's still Bill's fault. Bill's fault.
It's still
You got to double check the work, man, especially when you're going to invest billions of dollars.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, I get that.
So you're saying a team of people were wrong.
The sword always falls on the head. I get that. I fully understand that. But when you hear Phil talk, he sounds like somebody like me who doesn't really know much about the inner workings of the bullshit on the system. He probably could look at a computer and not know what a GPU or a CPU or...
Yeah, but Booty knows.
There you go.
Booty knows.
Now I think you come to the problem. It's almost to the extent of if Jim Gordon Ramsay Ryan used to, or let's say Hiroki Totoki goes to these studios and is like, "Hey, Herman, I hit these 5 studios. I need you to go check out these 5." Herman comes back from the other 5 and says, "Hey, everything looks great. Saw what they were working on. All of it makes sense. This is some of their concepts. I think we should greenlight this, this, and this." And then it completely fucking bombs from the Herman Hulse Studios, which doesn't happen, but I'm using this as an example. Hiroki Totoki then is not the one who is directly responsible for that. He is the one who's going to get a lot of the blame, because why the hell would you let that game release? But he was listening to his trusted advisor. I know, guys, I know. Bear with me. Maybe it's not Phil. Now, I'm talking about the Series X and S sucking ass. I am not talking about the doublespeak, the lying, the posturing, the grandstand. I'm not talking about any of that. All of that is on Phil. I am talking about the console and what it was advertised to be able to do versus what it could do and what it is doing. And think about it this way. The PlayStation came out, we got advertised 4K native 60 FPS up to 120 FPS, all this other stuff, 8K. Holy shit, 8K was going to take the world by storm because of the PS5. Okay, so what we got was 1440p upscaled to 4K in most PlayStation games. What we got was 60 frames per second, 40 frames per second, and 30 frames per second. Generally, most of the time, stable in most PlayStation games. And that was about it. We still haven't been able to display in 8K, and everything, unless you're playing in 30 frames per second, is upscaled to 4K. And so it does produce a lower image quality at 60 FPS. You get a lot of anti-aliasing. You get a lot of artifacting around character models. and a lot of artifacting and textures and stuff like that. Also, in 60 frames per second, your pop in is going to be a little worse on your games, usually, than it is in 30. But we got most of what was said. Right, we got most of it. Them dudes over at Xbox, they went backwards a generation. They got really beautiful visuals and not a damn thing else.
Not even that, dude. I mean, for Hellblade, yeah,
Well,
but
that's what I'm.
for the
That's
other
the
game,
yeah, sure, but it's all on Windows. I still say it's Phil. Twisted, listen,
it is Phil.
I get it, I get it, but I do oftentimes try to look at somebody's situation and go, okay, so if I was in this situation and my second or third in command came to me and said, hey, listen, here's what they're working on. You hired me because I know about this technical shit, and cool. Everything, it's going to be lights out. It's going to eat monsters for breakfast. And Phil goes, shit, eats monsters for breakfast. I got to talk in 20 minutes, and then I got to talk another 20 minutes after that. And then 3 days later, I got to say something. I got another interview for an hour. That's a perfect tagline. Great. I am going to go ahead and say that. And then he blasted out everywhere, and everybody latches on. It eats monsters for breakfast. And then it comes out, and it can't even eat Cheerios. Like, it can't.
See, I would go along with your theory, but the only reason I'm having a hard time with it is because that's a small business issue. You know, a business that's got 100 employees, a couple hundred employees. I can see something like that slipping. But when you are a $1 trillion company, man, shit like that just doesn't slip. It just doesn't. There's
Oh,
way
I
too much
disagree.
money
I think it's
involved.
easier to slip when you're a bigger company.
No
Um,
way.
I think it's much.
Because how many developers have spoken up? We don't know, but I
That's
bet you
true.
there's a bunch.
No, we
Like,
do
dude,
know.
you can't.
Fucking
I mean,
the rare person
Ibarra,
spoke up.
you know,
343 spoke up.
yeah.
Playground Games spoke up.
So they
Like
decided to ignore it. They decided to ignore. So it's way different than the scenario you're explaining a little bit because they
Redfall
knew.
devs
They
said,
just
please don't
decided,
make us do this.
yeah, yeah. So
they
they knew.
And so, but the other thing is the posturing from Xbox faithful. Like, and it just, damn it, guys.
That's the biggest one that those
How,
are the biggest ones to
how
blame, I
is
think.
this okay at all? I went through, we have talked about one, two, three, four, 5 games today. All 5 games are coming out within probably the next 18 months. And some of them are coming out within a couple weeks. Or not a couple weeks, within a couple months from us now. And we did talk about Stellar Blade coming out in a couple weeks. Every single one of those games, with the exception of Hellblade 2, is going to have a 60 FPS mode. So now you also have other developers. One of the things that Xbox point out, and I find it so freaking hilarious, I find it super funny, because they don't realize how bad they're actually hurting their own cause. Because they'll say, "Oh man, there's so many games that run at 60 frames per second. Look at Jedi Survivor." Yeah, y'all ain't had shit to do with that game. Well, look at this other game. It runs at 60. Yeah, y'all didn't have shit to do with that one either. But 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 it's still at 60. Look at Call of Duty. You didn't have shit to do with that one. So what you're telling me is devs at other companies know how to make games for your systems better than your own in-house devs. That shows a lack of dedication, a lack of support, and a lack of usability. And so if people want to sit there and go, but all these other games are at 60 FPS or 120, yeah, that's great. Most of them that came out this generation weren't from Xbox Studios. Which that means either y'all's devs really suck, or y'all's management really sucks, or both.
I think people that I don't know, I'm just guessing over here,
Like,
but
does that make
maybe they
sense?
just
Like, they're bragging because other fucking developers who don't work for Xbox are making games that run better on an Xbox.
well, it's like I saw yesterday in a video. They were talking about Halo Infinite, and how people that worked in that game knew that they were going to be contractors. They knew that it was going to be a very short-term job, but they still did it because it looks great on the resume. So how many people are working there just because it's going to look good on the resume, which will open doors somewhere else?
Okay, so hang on. Warawana, you're an ass. Uh, that's funny. So Wara just said, "Hey, you need to stop being mean to Phil Spencer. He is a national treasure and so many American Idol. He has done nothing for 10 years and has been promoted. That is the U.S. dream."
I mean, fuck, the laziest ones, you know.
And I said, Wara, I feel slightly attacked with the end of that. Not that it isn't true, but I still feel slightly attacked. Like, this asshole. Yes, it is the American dream to be able just to show up to work and kind of skate by and then get promoted. But guess what? That doesn't happen in the real world. We talked about it a million times. How many fucking times did we talk about this shit during during the ABK acquisition? How many times did we talk about it before the ABK acquisition when they had zero games for an entire fucking year in 2022? Like, when when do they turn the corner? Answer, they fucking don't. Why don't they turn the corner? Because their system isn't good enough to turn the corner. Why is it not good enough? Because management is inept, and or when they built this thing, they were way off on what it could do versus what they had on paper. Because if, hear me out when I say this, if the PlayStation can do it and it is using less power to do it, what that tells me is you have an efficiency issue. If something, why can they make PlayStations smaller? Why? Because the parts get smaller, they get more efficient about how they can use space within the design structure of it, and it helps them kind of condense everything down because they can be more efficient with the space that they have. It is just like when you are in your living room and your spouse, significant other, or roommate, or even in your own head, look at your living room and go, okay, damn, I feel crowded in here, but I don't really want to get rid of my stuff. And you go, okay, cool. How can I maximize my space? And then you figure out how to maximize your space. You rearrange some things. You get more efficient with your layout. And now you look back and now you have all this space. You have all this open space. And it works now and you love it. It's the same thing. When you get more time in something and more time around something, you should get more efficient with it. You shouldn't get worse. And it seems like as we go forward, the Xbox is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And you have people like Legary who are going to sit there and go, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening and it's going to be great and oh my god, it's going to be a masterpiece. I can't believe it. And like, dude, like let's be honest. There's one game so far this year that is a master that I would look at and go, this game is a masterpiece. And it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And it has problems. It's not perfect by any means. The pop in on that damn thing is ridiculous. But it has everything else going for it. It's a masterpiece, I think. I also think that any game that's a 9 or above should be given masterpiece status because it's amazing. 10 out of 10 is I don't give that out often, and it's a once in a lifetime game. It's a game that I think every gamer should put their hands on, and it doesn't matter if you like the genre, don't like the genre, no caveats, no nothing. The problem is Xbox doesn't have any of those titles. They don't have anything that you can look at and go, man, this game is amazing. This game is fantastic. This game is wonderful. I can't believe it. I can't believe how well it's gone. I can't believe how awesome it's been. I can't believe this or that. No. They have, I can't believe it's 30 frames per second. I can't believe that it's only 8 hours. I can't believe that it's a walking simulator. I can't believe that this big marquee title where we're supposed to be able to explore all these planets, you can't even explore the fucking planets. It's a little goddamn square. Let me rephrase that. It's a big dang square that you get to explore. And then if you get to the edge, you'll fast travel back to one of your bases. I, man, I can't believe that this game that was supposed to be about vampires and all of us getting to play together, it turned out the game fucking sucked. The graphics were terrible. The special moves were crap. The AI in the game, the machine learning wasn't learning. It didn't know how to do its job, just like Phil Spencer. They must have copied it after him. And like, you had people getting stuck behind park benches that couldn't come attack you because they didn't know how to crawl over or walk around a damn park bench. Like, every single time we're talking about PlayStation games in the sense of, man, that game was freaking awesome. I can't believe geeking out about Spider-Man was probably my favorite thing about last year when Spider-Man 2 came out, and Will and I literally played the game together but separate while we were in a party chat with each other. That was probably some of the most fun I've ever had playing a single player game in my life.
That was a blast, and we got it together.
And we got it together because I had a buddy of mine right in my ear, and every time he did something cool or I did something cool, we shared it with each other or we talked about it, or because we were really close in the story too. He'd play the game for a couple days, and then in those couple days I wasn't able to play, and then like I'd play the game for a couple days, and in those couple days he wasn't able. So it really, like, we were able to constantly be sharing stuff back and forth. And some of the things that we talked about was like, dang, really don't like the way they made her look. That was the negative. I don't like the way they made Mary Jane look. All right, cool. And one of my negatives was, hey, I don't like that the little bugs that you have to find in there only show up on the mini map and not actually on the main map. I hated that because I wanted to just go get them and continue that story or that part of the side quest. But like, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the game lags, the game doesn't run well, the game is full of bugs, the game's unplayable at launch, the enemy AI sucks, the combat sucks. We actually don't get to explore all these boroughs. Actually, as a matter of fact, when you go into Queens, you get to explore two streets, and then once you get to the end of that second street, it's going to bounce you back to the nearest borough. Like, we didn't have any of those discussions.
We're
Our
actually
dis-
talking about how free it was.
How free
You can fly from one end to the map to the other, get that trophy
without touching the ground. You can do
without
it.
touching the ground. Hmm.
And like, so it's just a difference in. I don't think it's so much even a difference in philosophy. It's a difference in what the devs at Xbox have to work with and their leadership. And I almost don't even want to give them a pass because, like I said before, outside developers are making games at 60 FPS on the Series X. So why can't they? That's not a leadership problem. That's not a direct Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond problem. But it not hang on. It's not their fault. It is absolutely their responsibility and their problem. But it's not their fault. They
And they're
need.
getting an adequate time. I mean, Hellblade
Oh
2
my
got
god.
6 years.
Perfect Dark has 37 years in development right now. Like,
Yeah.
it's
So it's not like outside
37 and
pressure or anything
counting.
like that.
So here we go. Hang on, we got some folks in the chat talking. Wara, you didn't get the tramp stamp. The Series S is bad, but management made the Series S decision. Warawana said he got the tramp stamp. Holy shit. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so that's the big thing about Hellblade 2. Do I think the game is going to look gorgeous? Absolutely. Do I think that the 30 frames per second in a vacuum is not that big of a deal? Sure. But I will also say, with the other things the Xbox has been doing, I can't remember the post, and I wish I did. Here, let me see if I can find it real quick. But because I think I liked it earlier just to be able to find it again. So here, let me do this. It takes a village. I'll be skipping Star Wars. Got my verification on YouTube. Sony was smart locking this down. Damn it. Where is it? Where is it? Definitely nice for the price. Dang it. Either the guy who put it up deleted his tweet, or I don't actually have it liked or I can't find it. That's frustrating. Anyways, uh basically what it was Xbox advertising or sorry, one of the studios advertising that they were going to be pushing out a patch for a game. Okay? And that patch for the game was going to hit PC first, and that they were still working on the same patch for the Series X and S. Can't remember what game, and it really frustrates me, and I wish I
Was
had
it
it.
Outer Worlds?
Man,
Because
shoot,
they
dude.
did that with Outer Worlds too.
I
The Spacers Edition,
the Spacers edition. That's funny. I
which is
honestly,
coming to PS Plus, by the way.
I don't see it, and I wish I did because I know for fact that I liked it because I wanted to bring it up on tonight's show, but it's not in my liked sections anymore.
You gotta put in your bookmarks, bro.
Shit. Okay. I'll get right on that one. You're like
Sorry, we're learning.
you
We're
gotta put it in
learning.
your bookmarks. Like, all right. Oh shoot. Creating stylish sci-fi, visual setup, playground graphic. Okay, yeah, man. I wish I could find it. Damn, that pisses me off. But basically, they are continuing on with their advertising of being able to push people towards PC. They have been continuing on with their advertising to push people towards PC. And I think that's because they know that if people want to play these beautiful, amazing games that they're building, that for whatever reason, they can't do it on the Series X and they can't do it on the Series S. And so the further along we get, the further along it's going to be like, hey guys, listen, we're going to give you this at 30 frames per second, but because of how big and massive we've made it and how much we're inept and unable to do our jobs as developers, now it's going to be at 1440p at a locked 30 upscaled to 4K, maybe sometimes. And but don't worry because it's going to have a day one patch on PC. You'll be able to run it at 60 frames per second, or if you have a beefier setup, 120 frames per second all day long, you'll be fine. All that tells me is that, hey, instead of spending $500 on a Series X, or instead of going to Burger King and getting the Whopper meal with a Series S, I, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and either A, I'm going to get a PC, B, I'm going to leave gaming altogether. Or I'm sorry, A, get a PC, B, get a PS5, or C, leave gaming altogether. And so what people don't realize is that 28 million people have purchased an Xbox Series X or S. That's 28 million gamers who purchased that system. Some of them, I know it's hard for us to believe, but some of them, that's the only system they have in their house. I would actually venture to guess that for a lot of them, it's the only system they have in their house. Because not everybody is as into games as we are. Most people are casuals. Will, you bring it up all the time. Most people are casuals. They get it for that one or two games, and that's it. They turn on their PlayStation or their Xbox once every couple weeks. They play when they have a chance, or they grind out that one game. You know, that Call of Duty, that Destiny, uh,
Helldivers.
Helldivers. Like that's all they do. Um, and so they have that system just for that. They're not us. They're not me sitting here going, "Dang, I want to savor every single bit of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth." But also I have Stellar Blade in 2 weeks, so I got to kick my ass into high gear. Like they don't necessarily have that struggle because they're like, "Oh, Call of Duty was here yesterday. Hey, guess what? Call of Duty's going to be here tomorrow. Cool. I'm going to play Call of Duty." And me, I'm like, "Oh crap. Okay, so I still want to finish Trails from Zero. I still need to finish um the Sea of Stars. I still need to finish all of these big, massive RPGs. I still need to finish Evil West. Still want to go ahead and get a review out." Like, they don't think like that because they're not in that headspace. They are not the hardcore. They are not the ones who live proverbially online. or permanently in some aspects. And so, like, I understand why Microsoft tried to do what they did, but at the same time, I think that hurts gaming as a whole more than it helps. Going in with a low entry point and delivering crap shit ass products to these at on some level paying customers, I think is where the gaming industry, at least on the Microsoft side, is really going to suffer a lot. And then what does that do? Let's say 26 million people, let's say 10 million of them go, you know what? I'm leaving gaming altogether. That destroys a market because you lose all of those potential dollars. You lose all of those potential spenders. And then combine that with the Sweet Baby Inc. shit, all the woke nonsense, all the political stuff getting shoved into our games, people fighting for your dollar on both sides. If you buy the game, you're a bigot. If you don't buy the game, you're racist. Like, and that's not about any particular game. That's just the world that we're in. Like, why in the fuck would you want to be a gamer right now?
Always
Sometimes,
online.
sometimes I look at myself and I go, man, this is fucking stressful. I just I just want to go to the store and buy a game and go home and play the game without knowing what I know. But the problem is I'm also an informed buyer. So is Will. So are several people in the chat. Like, and when you're an informed buyer, you really do need to do your research. When you actually have your own thoughts and opinions, and can think for yourself and not just be led around by your neck wherever you go, it's going to lead to some of these times where you're like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and order all of my PlayStation games now from India. Why? Because I don't want any of that bullcrap in my game. I just want to plug my game in and enjoy the game. That's it. That's all I want to do. But because I now know what I know, I'm looking at this and going, damn, Outlaws, why did y'all do that? Spider-Man, why did you do that? Last of Us, come on. Why? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, after you explain it, yeah, sure, that kind of sort of makes sense, but no. That's not why you did it. Deathloop, why'd you do it? Like, it leaves us with these questions and it kind of soils gaming in a sense. Like, Will, you said it tonight. We have been hyping Star Wars Outlaws since not E3, shit, since Summer Games Fest last year. We actually came on the show and said that Ubisoft had probably the best showing out of most of the developers there. Like, their show was one that I was pretty damn excited for the entire way through. And now we're getting all the details, and now it's killed the excitement for some people. I'm still excited about it because I think if the game is great, I don't care if it's always online because I'm going to beat it before they have a chance to destroy the servers. And then because it's a story-based game, I probably won't play it again. And so you have these things that as gamers where the outside influences are actually kind of hurting gaming for us, right? The things that these companies are doing is hurting a passion and a hobby that a lot of us have, which is why we come on here every freaking week and we talk about it every week. It's why certain topics repeat themselves because damn it, we're nothing on the playground if not consistent. Like the same thing that pissed me off about Redfall is the same damn thing that's pissing me off about Hellblade 2. It's because the system should be able to do better. The same thing that pisses me off about Always Online Diablo 4 is the same thing that frustrates Will right now about Always Online Star Wars Outlaws. We are nothing if not consistent here. And it's because we care about gaming. And on some level, we see the passion that we have being kind of shat on, if I'm being honest. Like, we have a ton of games that are coming out that are great. We have a ton of games that we can look forward to. But if those games keep coming out in the state of all the political nonsense that we have to filter through, combine that with the game running at 980p upscaled to 1440p on a PlayStation exclusive, combine that with maybe you don't have the exact right TV that's going to help balance everything out for you, and now the game has all this artifacting and all this other stuff. Combine that with the fact that stories aren't as well written in most games as they used to be. Or at least that's how it feels because we're influenced by the media on this level, right? Like, Star Wars chick feels like a super heavy smoker biker. I made that. I said that at the beginning, JP. I said that she looks like she smokes a pack a day. It's just terrible because the actress for it is absolutely stunning, but like they made her face look so terrible. I would be pissed off if I was one of these actresses or yeah, actresses. Like, hey, why'd you do that? My face doesn't look like that. It's, I've seen what Unreal Engine 5 can do. It made Keanu Reeves look like he was back in the 1997 Matrix movie. Like, why does my face look like that? But it's even that right there. That got me sidetracked because I was focusing on that and not on the games, right? And so, Will, I've talked a lot. I just went on a little bit of a rant, just kind of cleared some air there. Like, what? Well, you got any thoughts on anything I said? Nope. Hello, Will. Did you mute yourself? Are you playing PlayStation right now? You little shit. I think you are. Hang on. He hasn't messaged me. Okay, well we'll just keep going then, because I don't know where he went. Will, where you at? Hello. All right. Well, it's 11:36. He could have fallen asleep. That might have been something that happened. Uh, Either that or he muted himself in Discord. Let me check. Activision Blizzard can prove itself. Yes, it is greedy. I did not cover that, Josh. The $80 Godzilla King Kong Beast Glove melee weapon for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Did not cover that. Probably should have. Oh, he's muted right now. Hey, Will, do you know you're muted?
Yeah, no, I got kicked out of Discord,
Oh,
and like, yeah, it was nothing you did. I think it was me, just my phone
oh,
messing
weird.
around with it.
I was like, where did he go? He was just here. So, do you have anything on anything I said, or
Nah,
good
man,
rant
you hit
over?
it on the. Yeah, yeah, it was a good rant, man. That was perfect.
It's just, man, I feel I'd love. That's why tonight I really love just getting on here and talking about games. Like, we're gonna cover one more real quick, okay? Wolverine is this about made me scream a little bit when I saw this, like almost like that little kid's screech. Wolverine leak reveals Sentinel enemies. Mutant hunting robots are shaping up to be a big threat in the Wolverine game. This is from the Gamer. Will, did you watch the Wolverine TV shows as a kid?
Yeah, I watched. I wasn't a hardcore fan, but yeah, I've seen more than probably average.
Mm. Did you ever follow the comics or the movies?
Comics, no. Movies, yes.
Okay, so these guys, the Sentinels, are fantastic characters.
Yeah, they
Uh,
are.
they are easily hateable, and they hunt down mutants to trap them to take them back. Well, at one point it was to take them back to give them this serum that took their powers, but that actually didn't. And this is from the cartoon. That actually didn't work. But then they figured out how to make it work, and Rogue actually went and lost her powers, and Wolverine went ballistic, and it is such a good storyline. And so to hear that the Sentinels are going to be in this game, that's fantastic. The other thing it makes me nervous about, though, is where do you go from the Sentinels? Because whether it's in the TV show, the comics, or the movies, after the Sentinels, it kind of goes downhill as far as storytelling within the universe, at least. Um, And so that's when you get a lot of Wolverine on the X Force and a lot of solo stuff with him, and the X Men kind of get split up because in the comics from long time ago, Charles Xavier gets killed by the Sentinels. Uh, in one of the storytellings and renditions, he gets killed by the Phoenix, but he's actually only trapped in a. Anyways, fuck all that. This game is going to have. Excuse me. Now I sound like I smoke a pack a day. This game is going to have Sentinels as the enemies, which I'm hoping that they do it in the same vein of like the Venom, where you have the symbiotes or the symbiotes in Spider-Man 2, where like they have different colors to them, and each different color is a different thing. Like I don't know, super a lot of cool stuff. Super a lot of cool. Yeah, we're gonna go with it. Super cool stuff that I'm really hoping that they do, and I'm really excited about that. And I missed covering that. The other thing, Will, you are the gamer of the two of us. I'm not even gonna act like I game more than you at all. I am a gamer, but you are like proverbially connected to your PlayStation, and I absolutely love that because I don't get to do that. So having somebody on here who does makes this topic really good. So PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium for the month of April. All right, so I'm going to tell you they kind of fucked up on one of them. Medieval, the PS1 original version, we've already gotten the remaster or the re-dead or whatever it was called. So that's kind of stupid. But all the rest of these are okay games. They're okay to give us. And two of them are day and date. And so we have Dave the Diver. That is a Steam game that is, or it's a PC game that's coming over, and it's never been on PlayStation before, and now it's coming over, and it actually looks. It reminds me of one of those like firmware games from like when you used to go to websites and play the games on the website. I don't know if anybody else ever did that, but they were all ran through like JavaScript, and that's what this one feels like. So Dave the Diver, there's no screenshots available. Well, would you look at that? Would you just look at that?
There
Um,
should be trailers. I mean, they put that out in their state of play.
yeah, I got you.
But dude, um, and I disagree with you with the medieval because there's lots of people out there that didn't claim it when it came out years ago. So it just gives them another opportunity to play it.
No, I'm saying it's already on PS Extra.
Oh, okay. Is it?
Yeah.
So is it gonna be on PS Essential? Is that what it is?
No, they're putting it in the premium tier as a PS1 game.
Oh, okay, mate, for people that want to play. Oh, yeah, whatever. That's stupid. But yeah, no, was it Zao? I think it is. That game was announced during the Video Game Awards, and I've been hyped about that game. We're not hyped, but like excited to see it. Ever since I saw it there, so that's actually on my wish list. And when they announced it was gonna be on PS Plus, I'm like, oh shit, that's what's up, because I get to play it now without having to buy it, and if I like it, I will buy it. And then Day the Diver is another one of my games that I was waiting for it to come to PlayStation. So I'm getting two games that I want to play on PlayStation Premium. So and they're day and dates. I mean,
Hmm.
that's just awesome.
And it has
So
adaptive triggers.
yes, well that's what I said mentioned earlier is that not only are we getting Pentiment at 120 frames, but they're also using the DualSense controller, and they're integrating that into their game as well. And yeah, we're getting all that. It's a very good month. I think PlayStation Plus in general has been really stepping it up the last couple months. I still feel like the not the premium, but the one above that, extra is it?
Oh, no, no, no.
Is
Extra and then premium.
oh, extra and then premium.
Yeah.
I think they need to do better with bringing back some of those PS1, PS2 games, which maybe that medieval one was kind of an easy one to do since they already did the remake or the remaster. But they really need to step it up there. But man, those day and dates are that's